Hello, hello. Welcome to
We're not
Doctors.
live.
Why are
Aww.
we? You? Oh, I'm actually.
What the heck is? I just worried about the updating the stream info. I just.
Are we live or not?
No.
Because like this update stream info, I guess.
Oh.
I don't know if this is going. What it's gonna look like on the other end. I'm just gonna hit confirm and go live.
But it's the wrong stuff, right?
It is, but I don't know if it will update it because it's different on the. We changed it
Oh
on
no, you
Twitch.
have to change it on that as well.
Okay, well. Oh wait, I was trying to use my freaking
Oh,
keyboard. All right, stream.
Okay,
Oh, wait,
and you
no.
hit record, right?
Yeah, it's already recording already.
Okay.
Well, how do you prefer it stylized?
Well, podcasters won't
Doesn't
get this beginning part
Stream
probably.
City.
Maybe Kelly will edit it out.
Doctors.
Maybe she'll
and
just be like,
Dungeon
nah.
Masters.
I just stopped
It's
recording.
reality.
Just dead ass stopped recording.
Gotcha.
Stream City, Doctors and Dungeon Masters.
Yeah.
Good enough.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
It's the other way around, but it's okay.
Oh wait, what? Dungeons, not dungeon. All right, and confirm and go live. Okay.
All right. Hello, hello.
Woo.
Welcome to another week of Doctors and Dungeon Masters. I am Kelly Breivik, a PhD student, and I am the Dungeon Master.
I am guest starring this week. My name is Luke Jacoby. I am a UW Milwaukee alumni from the Peck School of the Arts. Graduated with a music degree.
Leah Diller, I'm a PhD candidate. And I am currently playing Ash, the Bard.
Eric Kirsting, PhD student. But no, I was just making.
No.
I was making fun of myself.
No.
You.
That the whole candidate thing is a whole bit, and I'm only doing it because my professors are like, you need to make sure people like that you're not calling yourself a student anymore. I'm like, it doesn't matter, but whatever.
And I
I still can't call myself a doctor. What does it matter?
Exactly. I'm
I'll
sorry, I
play
interrupted
out.
your introduction.
That's all. I
Fair
just need
enough.
to finish my last part.
Corey is out this week. He will be returning next week, and because he's out, his character is left to my whim. Let's have a-
Apparently, his family.
Really,
is
we're
more
all
important
left
than us.
to-
I don't understand.
We're all left to your whim, regardless of whether we're here or not.
That is false. When you're here, you have some free will.
some.
The illusion.
You can ask for free will.
And then the
If you're
dice will
high
tell
enough-
you what. No.
If you're high enough wizard, you can wish for it.
Yeah. Let's get a
Oh,
recap.
Oh fuck!
What happened?
That was only a week ago.
It was only a week ago, and
That
you were
feels
less
like a
fucked
lot
than
longer
2 weeks ago. I
than
know.
Last week.
I've been
Okay,
thinking a lot.
so we got to the place.
Yeah.
A bunch of shit happened with a 13-year-old.
Yeah. What happened with that
Franz?
13-year-old? Well, Fran's 15.
Franz is a 13-year-old in my heart.
What did he do? There were refugees.
Yeah, so we got
There's
to
something
the
happened
camp,
with
there
Smoking
were
weed with the
refugees.
refugees.
There were lots of like fam brother moments. Franz smoked pot
Yeah.
with the refugees, and then was like, I died and came back to life, and these refugees had just been like, they're refugees because their villages have been taken over by undead. So one of the 13-year-olds freaked the fuck out, went to go tell the paladins, and then there was like that Franz was undead, and then there was a very tense moment between basically everyone.
Yeah.
There was no
Yeah.
one that was happy with anybody else in that situation, PCs or NPCs.
Yeah.
It didn't really matter.
Yeah.
When we fought some undead shit when we thought we were going to get a long rest.
Yup.
But we did get
Dead.
a
You're
long rest.
welcome.
We did eventually get a long rest, that's true.
Yup. And Ash figured something out about his present too last week.
Yeah. Wasn't a present. It was a gag, and he was the end of it. Which means that whole, like, him trying to be friends with this NPC we've got in our party is no longer a thing that Ash will be doing. But that's fine.
Mhm.
Now we're ready to go on to one of 3 quests. Where there's an avalanche, all the orphans are dying. We gotta go save them.
Oh, is that who's dying at the avalanche?
No, I just
Okay.
that's what
I was like,
could,
does he get actual information about that? I don't
that's
know.
the story in my mind.
I'll refresh you guys with that, especially since Luke is here and he wasn't here last week. So there's Petrosk, where she sent a troop of soldiers out to investigate some mysterious dark magic presence in the town, and they have not come back. And it's been enough time where she's starting to worry. There's the Witch of the Ice Tomb, which is kind of like
We're not allowed to do that
exactly, yeah. She.
I mean,
that's
we're
what
not allowed, but the GM has made it very clear that we probably shouldn't.
You
go.
probably shouldn't. But I mean,
If we're really feeling a TPK, we could go try and.
I don't think we'd get TPK'd.
yeah. But I mean, you probably want to figure some other stuff out first. There's Hestal, which is the rescue mission to save the troop from the avalanche. So they were on their way to a town that didn't really have that many issues.
Those are the orphans. Okay.
Yeah. But there was a avalanche, and she worries about the safety of her people. And there's Bayam, which used to be a simple fishing village, but now a lot of unsavory characters are congregating there. So she's worried that that might be a recruiting center for whatever's going on.
Right, because we've got undead and not undead working together in some weird amalgamation.
Yes.
Because that's great.
Yep.
Well,
So those are the little things
And
going on.
winter is coming.
well, Ash, do you think we should deal with the avalanche or the troops who've been gone a while?
I assume the avalanche is more pressing. When is this cat coming in? Is he here already?
Not yet. The captain's going to call you to. Do you want to have this discussion before or after you're called in the morning?
I am so sorry.
I like that TV show. I wrote a paper for Queer Television on that show.
Oh, what's it called?
Hey,
Steven
I'm streaming
Universe.
right now. So I will talk to you later.
worries.
All right, bye. My sister does not call all the time, and so I
Oh.
figured, just in case, I was like, I'm streaming right now, and she was like, but it's an emergency! I could,
Yeah,
but now I'm going to turn this on silent, and
sounds
that will
good.
not be a problem again.
So morning comes. I'm gonna make the executive decision that morning comes, and
Okay.
you are summoned to the captain's quarters by Tomas.
Okay.
And he hurries you over. He's kind of quiet, looking a little guilty. You notice that. You don't know what for. But
Okay.
you try and see if you can roll better.
No!
Nat 20 or
She nat 20.
I wasn't rolling for anything for actual...
oh, okay.
I was rolling for internal,
Composure.
composure and decisions about whether or not...
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I do. So for the record, I do that for Gold Lucas and for stream. Is sometimes I will just roll. If I don't call when I'm rolling, it is because I'm rolling for something for Ash because I like to.
I do the
When
same
I can't
thing, too.
decide something, I will leave it up to the dice.
Yep. So he walks you into the captain's quarters, and he gets the two of you, but Franz is nowhere to be found right now. And he steps and stands at the captain's side, and you see, describe your character, standing on the opposite side of the desk from Tomas.
Average-sized human, kind of pale, sandy brown hair, unkept, and he's got a shield, warhammer, hitched to his belt, chainmail. He's pretty stern-looking. It's nothing too showy out front.
Mm-hmm.
You notice that I keep fussing with silver ring on my middle finger on my right hand. It's almost like a nervous tick.
Cool.
And the captain will give a little nod to you two, and she says, I know I asked you to do some tasks for me over the next coming days or weeks. Unfortunately, Franz caused a little trouble, and I don't like trouble in my camp, so he's doing some work to make sure that this doesn't happen again. So since I am taking one of your companions for a day or so, I figured I could part one of mine so you will not go
Can
light-handed.
we talk with Franz?
No, I don't want him to break concentration from what he's doing right now. I could show you Franz if you're worried about
Is he
his safety.
willingly doing whatever you're having him doing?
As willingly as a soldier can.
So Ash is gonna look directly at Tomas and just kind of like give a "Is your brother actually okay?" look.
Okay. He'll catch that and he'll nod. He still looks pretty guilty about it. But
Ash has like, and you should feel guilty about it, look all over his face.
But you get he isn't worried about Franz's safety right now.
That's really what matters.
It's like just grunt work.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's toothbrush on the floor, but like, you know.
Yeah.
Gotta make sure.
Yeah, so pretty much she's giving a little bit of punishment for him causing trouble, but nothing that's putting him in danger, nothing that's harming him. And she goes, "This is Friedrich. He will be happy to help until you have yours back." Is there anything you need from me?
Do you have any, are there any traders?
What sort of traders are you looking for?
Mostly is a little more winter gear.
Oh, yeah. She would go, "Oh, yes, we do have some clothes makers. Tomas can show you the way."
Great.
And, Tomas is looking... Actually, let's see if he, let's roll that inside check. He does not notice why.
Okay, yeah, because yeah, so my deception for that would have been 24.
He rolled an 8, and... Nah.
Yeah. Ash was trying not to make it obvious.
Yeah. So Tomas is going to, and you'll be joining them, he walks you out of the captain's quarters, and he'll turn to you, and he's saying he's just hauling sandbags back and forth on the field all day.
I mean, the 13-year-old better be doing it with him, but probably not, right?
He hasn't even guilty or look.
Mm-hmm.
He's like,
yeah.
It's a kid. He got a stern talking to. Are you wearing your coat right now?
Girl, yeah.
Did you tear out the embroidery?
Nope.
Okay. So he'll walk you over to the tent and go, is there anything else you need? Do you want me to come fight with you for a little while?
No, you can stay here.
Wow! And did it for him.
Oh,
That's intense.
Tomas is actually going to go, are you guys mad at me over this?
No.
I
mean, I assumed you'd have, like, duties and things.
Oh, okay.
Here.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna go now.
Really like to come with us.
I don't think that an avalanche is too much of us for us to worry about. We
There's
can
also
fly.
undead between here and there.
Whatever.
You don't have no idea what this cat can do or can't do.
I'm not worried about him. Really, he's kind of weighing us down if you think about it, because we could just fly over all the undead, and now we can't.
Oh!
Emma's kind of pissed that Franz isn't joining us.
Yeah, so Ash will just be like, "Oh yeah, I mean, that's true."
Tomas is actually looking kind of sad. And he goes, "Okay, well, I'm here if you need me."
Did you want to come with and be a hero?
He's already walking away, and he walks a little faster when you start, like, pitying him.
Now that we got that out of our head. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Well, I mostly heal people. From the apothecary, and Captain brought me over to help you since your mate's running bags.
Alright, well this is my unicorn, Diana.
It's a beautiful state.
Yes. We better get on with it.
I have to go, buy some shit.
Alright, you go buy some shit.
Okay,
And
so because I feel bad because you, like, described your character and don't have any idea who these people are. Ash, you know, like, the frat boys who, like, roll out of bed and their hair is insane, and, like, they kind of have, like, wrinkled clothes, and that's what he looks like.
Okay.
But with bard shit and lots of weapons.
Okay.
He's kind of got that look like he purposefully makes himself look like this, and probably don't underestimate him.
Okay.
What does Em look like right now?
She is a translucent elf woman with blue hair, white hair. I don't remember what color her hair is.
It's something.
It changes. I mean, you described her as that chick from Brave.
No, that was Maggie. the
Okay.
last character.
Right. Okay. Then never mind.
And she's got long hair. She's an elf, so she's kind of tall. She's walking around, wearing a big fur coat thing.
Do you speak Dwarvish? Like,
Yes.
so in that case, he is currently wearing a cloak that has Dwarvish embroidery that says "Old Man" on it, which is important current to this what we're doing right now, which is why I'm letting you know.
Awesome.
And Eric, could you swap it to off of intro? Thank you.
All right, so I'm gonna go in the tent.
Okay. In the tent, there's a couple of dwarves. Just kind of, it's both armory and clothes because they kind of mix the two together. So they try and
Right.
find ways to make armor that's like fur lined or stuff like that.
Cool.
So one of them
That's nifty.
notices you as you walk in, and they go, "Hello there. What can I do for you? You're a new face.
Yeah, just got to camp basically.
Are you one of the refugees?"
No. Fighter hand to help. We're gonna go out. Help
Wanna
with
tell
the
nonsense?
avalanche. Yeah.
Yeah, word's got around. You guys are pretty tough, except one of you causes trouble. Are you the one that causes trouble? No, you'd probably be hauling sandbags by now.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. What can I do for you?
So I need a little more in the way of winter gear because I don't really have any, and also I need to replace this.
You got
cloak.
some gear on there right now that's not warm enough. Let me look. Wow, this is really nice.
It is, yeah, but I want to give it to you and buy something else. Well, I trade it to you and then also buy something.
Okay, how about you just give it to one of the refugees and we'll
Sounds good.
count that as your trade-in.
Great. Yeah, so he'll be looking for.
Are you just looking for like a solid?
Yeah, so I'm thinking like winter boots,
Okay.
like good winter boots. So they're going in literally to an avalanche right now,
Mhm.
and then like a new cloak, and I could buy some better armor if they have any.
What armor do you currently have?
That's a really good question. Because I know I have some, but I don't have it written down anymore.
Okay. I mean, you're also coming back here a couple, over the course of several missions.
That's true.
So if you don't know just yet, it's totally fine. And I'm going to say like he has, the boots are like I can't stress enough. These boots are like made specifically for cold weather. So if you wanted normal winter boots, it would be like a silver. But if you wanted
I want avalanche boots.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it would be 3 gold pieces, but it's got the fucking things that like glacier walkers, the little what are they called?
Crimpons.
Crimpons.
Great. Awesome.
You got croutons on your
Dig it.
Tall.
Yep. So
Um,
you've got that. There's the cloaks are like the uniform cloaks. So if you wanted to have something that didn't make you look like another soldier, you would have to wait until you came back. But he would be if you wanted something custom, he'd give you just something to have for now, so long as you brought it back for the custom one, or he could sell you a new one at like a gold piece.
cool. What is their standard armor?
The standard armor is armor or uniform.
Uniform.
Okay. The uniform's it's a slightly darker royal blue, with silver trim and white fur lining. So that's what it would be.
Okay.
And the coat, it has like a collar and then like a detachable hood that you can pull over. So if the hoods causing you trouble, you could take it off and put it in your pack. And the cloak goes down to around like mid-thigh.
Cool.
Yeah. Or you could get a kind of a parka jacket as well. But he likes the cloak better because it looks cool.
Yeah. So he's gonna take the cloak, and he said that's a gold.
Yes.
And
And 3 for the boots.
And then I will come back for armor. When I figure out what I currently have, which will just be backtracking my AC.
Okay. And then he'll go, I'll be happy to help you when you come back, Mr. Old Man. He gave him the thing. He saw it.
Yeah, I know. Name's Ash, by the way. Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I'm Xanathar.
Xanathar. All right. Love it.
Yep.
Love it. All right.
So while we're waiting by the north gate, which is the direction.
Oh, you
we
guys?
kinda went.
Did you guys leave me?
No,
Oh,
we're
okay.
waiting.
Uh-huh.
So you know how to swing that thing?
It's not my preferred method of inflicting pain.
What is your?
Well, I'm from the north, and my
A
people,
lot of people are from the north.
we're pretty well blessed, I'd say. We've got a god that really likes us, and we've got some cool stuff. Yeah, I don't know. What do you do?
Oh, you didn't really answer my question.
Man, Emma's just having this not at all.
What's the question?
You,
I'm not sure what you're getting at.
or I asked if you use that to inflict pain, and then you said no, and then I said, what do you do?
I mean, I guess you consider me something like a herald of the storm. Is what my ancestors would call us, but I don't know. I can do a
rain
lot
on
of things.
people? Do you make it rain?
I can make it rain. I can make it hail. I can make it snow.
Is that useful against these things? They don't seem to mind the snow too much.
It's a lot of snow.
All
It's
right,
like-
all right.
It's like compact.
Thank you for the
and-
follow, Camino Kid.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What?
What's up, Katie?
Yo,
Well, you know,
we try not to call
don't
out.
be outing people.
We're friends. We're good people.
Yo.
Why?
So, all right. Okay, sounds interesting. Just so you know, I don't even think these things can feel pain, so you don't have to. You kind of said like inflict pain with a kind of a hint of reserve. Don't worry about it. They're better off dead.
Yeah. I've been
They're
here for
better
some
off
time.
dropped.
We all take.
I guess not dead. They're better off not being undead.
I've been called to battle, here, but it's more that I prefer the apothecary. I don't mind, healing people if I could.
Well, you're replacing somebody who doesn't care to heal and likes to stab things. So,
Stabbing is not what I want to do. Is it bloody? Do you stab people to make them?
So
He's
when do
got
I
a
walk
ham-
into
you got a
this
hammer,
conversation?
right?
At
Let me
any
know.
point at this point.
well,
Yeah.
if you use something with a hammer, it's not going to be too bloody, especially with the undead because they're,
Oh yeah, right.
not-
Yeah, the undead.
they're not, and I don't expect us to be fighting too much else today, so I think it'll be alright.
Good.
I can do some healing too, so don't feel like the burden's entirely on you.
Oh,
I mean, you're actually replacing 2 people, so good luck with that.
That's just a bit of
Jesus.
pressure, isn't it?
I mean, we did purposely send one away, so
We don't need them.
I mean, we probably do. We'll pretend we don't and die. It's fine.
Oh yeah, we could. We can still fly. Never mind. Because I can make Diana fly, and then make like you fly.
And then Diana can carry the other 2. You 2.
Yeah. Or I can
That's
make
fine.
myself fly and make Diana fly and put both of you on her.
Yeah, I mean, you are better at flying than either of us, probably. Unless you can fly.
My
You-
god has not allowed me flight yet.
Oh, well.
Wait, are you sorry? Are
You
you?
should get on that.
Are you? What
I can
ra-
fly.
out of character? What race are you?
I'm human.
Human.
Okay.
I'm human.
All right. First, I was like, for a second, I thought you might be Dragonborn, and I was like, shit.
Oh.
that would have been like really mean.
So,
But you're not. So
are
it's
we
fine.
ready to head out?
Yeah, sure.
Alright.
Okay, so as a reminder, there's a shitload of undead. The general area of where you have to get to.
Mhm.
It is a day's journey walking.
Mhm.
So you could probably get most of the way there with an hour of flight.
Mhm.
But there's still going to be some investigating that you're going to have to do in order to find where this avalanche
So, I propose that we're not going to really solve any problems by killing undead in the field outside. Agreed?
Not currently.
If you want to skip battle, I'm not opposed.
Now, what was your name again?
Friedrich Matthias Stormborn.
Okay.
You can call me Fred or Friedrich or FM or
Well, what do you prefer? You just gave me 3.
whatever you prefer to call me. Just
All right, Fred.
okay.
Hop on, and I'll get on Diana. And I actually don't think I can cast it on because Diana. It's if I self-cast something, it also goes to Diana. So I don't think I can self-cast it and not be on her and for her to fly based on the.
What's the talk about fly? And I'm gonna look up find steed.
Okay. Fly spell d4v. Okay. So the target gains fly speed for up 60 feet. Flying speed is 60 feet for the duration. When the spell ends, the target is still aloft unless it can stop the fall. When you cast the spell using a higher spell slot, you can target 1 additional creature late. It's a 3rd level? Yeah, but I have 4th level slots. Yeah, that's right. So I can target 1 additional creature. So I can target 2 creatures.
Mm-hmm.
And then the way that Find Steed is worded is
Steed says in my comment. Like you have an instinctive bond, but here's the thing: you could be up to a mile away
yeah,
from
well,
it
1 second. Your steed is
and
this.
still be bonded.
Additionally, if your steed has an intelligence of 5 or less, your steed serves you as a mount. Sorry.
So I would say that you can cast it on her and not be on her, because once you've casted it, it doesn't matter if it's
You
right
you
next
can
to
make any spell you cast that targets only you also target your steed instead.
Yeah.
So technically, okay. I'm just gonna Fred get on the back of I'm already on Diana, and I'll just me and Ash, and we'll just fly.
So don't
over
you
the-
mean Diana and Ash, so that she's flying?
Well, it says
and
also targets the steed. So if I target
No.
myself,
So it says
instead of you.
instead.
while I'm finishing, you can make any spell you cast that targets only you also target your steed. So it does both at the same time.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought you said instead. Not
I also
also.
heard instead, so don't.
Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah.
So you could have had Tomas. Anyway,
I'm
I'm
not sure
not-
exactly how it works. It feels like it's like this weird fudgy ruling.
This is also the first time in character that we've tried this.
That's true.
So,
Yes.
So if I would say that it also targets you, so like you and Diana count as one,
Yes.
but this is where you learn that.
mm,
And it's
So
also
we could both be flying around together in the sky.
yeah.
That's cute.
yeah.
I love this sort of stuff because it just reminds me of like combos that you could get in certain games where like, this is the 1/2, the find steed, and something else together becomes broken, like sneak attack and critting. But anyway.
All right. Well,
Yep. You're
Diana,
fine.
me, and Leia can fly. Fred, you just have to stay on Diana's back, and you'll be okay.
Have you ever flown before? Has he?
No.
How does this feel?
Ash hates it too, so don't feel bad.
I'm a bit nervous. I've been on plenty of boats. Is it like a boat?
No.
All right.
Do you have a helmet or something you put over your face so the bugs don't fly into your mouth?
It's cold.
I'm just kidding. There's no bugs.
There's
cold.
It's so cold.
I'm giving you a hard time. But
roll-
let's fly to the avalanche.
Yep. Roll a Constitution check, Luke.
No,
Not
20.
20.
Nice.
Nice.
It's kind of scary because like if you fall, it's on these strangers to save you. But you're able to keep a straight face, and any fear that you might have doesn't show on the surface unless you choose to let it show to the surface.
All right.
Roll a survival check, everyone who wants to try, and keep on the right path. Keep a lookout for. Oh, what is it?
Snake.
Okay.
13.
And
18.
okay. So you've been around here for a while. They got the general directions, but anytime they start veering off to what they think is supposed to be the right direction, you pop them in. What catches your eye, Leia, is a lot of there seems to be a lot of like footprints in the snow from like animals all herding in one direction. So you thought, oh, maybe we gotta go this way, and no, it turns out that way. With your 13, you see.
I'm happy to follow the person who actually knows the fuck we're going. So.
You see Eric, every now and again footprints that look like people that traveled. So you're kind of following that, but he just leads you to like, no, like if an avalanche happened, it would be in this direction because there's this mountaintop. So while you guys were going off the tracks, he went off of like historical understanding of the geography.
Already more useful than Thomas.
Wow,
Jesus.
Emma's like way more. In fact, your disparaging with Thomas is actually making Ash be like, wow, not even I'm this mad at him. Like, no, that's not true. Ash is
Trying to
mad at
bond with my friend.
Yo.
him. Ash is pretty pissed.
And then roll a percentage die, someone with advantage, so take the higher percentage.
Oh, percentage die. Wait, one person?
Yep.
Okay, it's all you.
Okay. I don't understand what advantage means though.
Like,
You
so
roll
roll
twice.
twice and take the
Okay.
higher percentage.
68. 72.
Okay. Big difference. It's okay. So you're able to get a good way there, but even with your flight, it got you over the dangerous part because as you notice, it's probably for only about like almost a mile that it's just completely like fucked around there, and it seems like the divine presence of so many paladins is what's drawing this like band. So I just want to kind of describe a perception check as well.
Wow.
What?
So fast you can fly with flight. You can fly 80 miles an hour.
What?
Yeah, I just looked it up because you can fly 60 feet per second.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
And 60 feet per second. If you're dashing, is 120 feet per
Okay.
second,
What's
which is
math?
81 miles per hour. I just googled it,
Jesus Christ.
which
Okay.
makes sense.
No, it does. In my head, I'm thinking combat and how long you can get.
We just
in
went
combat,
80 miles, guys.
Yeah.
Fuck. Jesus.
Okay.
It took us 15 minutes to get there.
Yeah. So
Like,
okay.
we get all 3 done in one day.
Jesus.
Just like,
Hold on, the spell's still going. We can get to the other one. We just need to save these people.
Yep. So we'll say it'll take you 15 minutes.
I don't. It's up to you.
I don't know.
If you want to nerf it, if you want to say you can't dash, then it's 40 miles an hour.
Well, no, because I set it up like you should not. I should not have to nerf something because you have a spell.
however
that,
long we don't know how many
Yeah.
miles it is between here and there either.
You could
That's
easily.
what I was.
You could easily make it
However,
40 miles an hour because I'm doing it with the dash, right?
Let's
As
see,
you're
3
adding
miles
with the dash
walking.
action, you could say that that's unsustainable to dash for a full hour, even in flight mode, right?
Okay, I'm gonna say each town is 20 miles away from
Okay.
more or
Cool.
less.
So it takes about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Cool.
Because I was thinking if you're
And it's a
walking.
straight line because we're flying.
Yeah. So, but I'm going to say like the avalanche happens close to the town, but not all the way at the town. So it's we'll say 10 minutes, but you're not at the town yet, unless you want to be at the town instead of the avalanche.
No, we'll be at the avalanche. That's where we're supposed
Yeah,
to be.
that's what our job is.
Okay. And just to describe because
That was a 19 on that perception check. You just
yeah.
had to speed, by the way.
So the way that you notice things are, so let's pretend that's the encampment, or the fortress rather. There's like undead, circling around as if they're drawn to the divine presence of the sheer amount of paladins and everything. Then there just seems to be like a calm space around it, and then you see, some, definitely a strong presence, but not as strong as over here. So it seems like there's a band of safe before you get into danger zone again, because anyone that gets close, to this band will just end up beelining it for here, and then there's just stuff that mill about. And it ranges from things that look like, oh, I could snap my fingers and it's done, to, okay, that's kind of beefy, I should talk to someone about that. And you do see a couple of those bone demons and things that even look worse than those bone demons.
The bone demon. That's the flying thing we
The
saw.
flying thing, yeah.
So we try to avoid those when we see them, because obviously they can fly.
Yeah, so I'm
Fuck
gonna
us up.
say with your survival check, with your perception check, like you're able to avoid them being seen by them. It's more for just so you understand what's going on. Like they're there, but unless you're looking to engage with them right now, like you're able to get past them.
Right.
You land at the site, the edges of the avalanche, and allow me to.
So, like, from the sky, are we seeing any, like, movement?
Yeah.
Or,
What kind of movement exactly are you looking for?
So, like, survivor, huddle, things that are people that are look aliver than other people?
Okay.
Limbs sticking out of the snow.
Yeah, or, like, dead people would also be,
Yeah.
you know.
Roll a perception check with advantage because you're circling over. So I'm gonna say it'll be the 15 minutes because you're spending some time circling over.
27.
Okay. Yeah. So you see with a 27, actually. 1 second. I'm going to.
A lot of horsepower in play, eh?
You gonna leave me hanging? There we go.
I didn't see it. I'm
I
sorry.
know,
Sorry.
you're fine. I'm just giving you shit, don't
But
worry.
just to let you guys know, I'm going to try to save. I don't have too many big spells I can cast today. This was one of them. I'm going to try to not use the big spells. Don't expect any walls of fire if we have to get into a fight here, because I want us to have the get out of jail of being able to fly away if we need to.
That's fine. We've got at least 3 gods on our side, because you've got 2 and
I don't have
he's
2.
got 1.
I've got 1.5.
You got 1 and
An angel.
okay. Whatever. We
It's
have
funny, all
several supreme
The god
beings.
doesn't really care about me. They just like give me things from time to time. The angel's the one who I cast the magic through.
The more you know.
Okay, so this is you and Diana. This is Ash. That is Friedrich.
And so we still have
so I
flight
know-
until I lose
yes,
concentration.
yes.
Okay.
So here's what you see. You see a couple of scattered weapons, armor, stuff that seem to have got caught up earlier in the avalanche and then just tumbled out as it kind of finished. There's a hand that is clawing its way out. It's almost like it's struggling right now, and it's kind of difficult to see because right now it's pale as shit, but you don't know whether it's because they're undead or because they're close to death.
Because they're hypothermic.
Yeah. So it's difficult to tell even with that, just because you're so high up.
Yeah.
You see 3 skeletons. No, I don't want skeletons. I want zombies. 3 zombies.
Okay.
Shuffling around, walking towards that hand. And it looks like they just happened upon them because you had been watching them amble about. And it doesn't seem like they were sent here. It was like, oh, they're walking by. There's movement. What's that? But there were these 2 elks that were not operating, but just kind of moving a little oddly. Like they're confused, but they didn't seem spooked by the zombies, and the zombies didn't go after them. But these elk were just kind of walking around in circles, what do I do? What like a scared dog in a thunderstorm.
Okay.
So that's what you happen upon.
Alright, well, just in case the hand is actually alive, you want to kill some zombies for this?
Yeah. How high are we right now? Up in the air?
We've just landed.
Oh, we're still. Oh, no.
we
can choose,
we can land. We can choose where we're gonna land, right?
Yes.
Cool.
Because while we're still
Is
in
that
the
the
air,
hand, the D12?
Yes.
Could we land behind everything and try to pull the
in
D12
front?
out before we have to fight the zombies and presumably zombie elks? That's what M thinks. Is those
Well,
things.
one of
don't
us.
look right.
Whatever. This shit shouldn't be too hard.
I'm going to transmorgify a lance.
Nice.
So you see just a
You
huge
wanna-
lance appear in M's hand.
You wanna try and dig the thing out of the snow, and we'll.
Sure. So you guys will land over.
Awesome.
Oh well. You're kind of stuck with
We
me
can-
until I drop you off somewhere.
I mean, how high up are we while we're still in the air?
How high up are we all?
That's up to you.
We can fly down to 120 feet or 60 feet if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah,
See, that's-
how high do you
because
want
it-
to be?
Because we could theoretically at 120 feet start taking shots at them. I'm okay with rolling on the dice against some enemies on the ground.
Oh,
So Ash will probably go land because he is better,
Okay.
significantly better on the ground than he
Here
is.
or there?
I think honestly, if they're ambling towards the hand, he would get in between them, because that's what he's trying to do. So
and I'll land on top of the hand so that we
Okay.
can aid them. And Frederick is on our back.
So I mean,
but like
Do
you
you
could
wanna
still
get
pot
it-
as
shot.
I was
you
gonna
wanna-
say, as we're going down,
Does
gonna.
anyone want a pot shot before
Exactly.
combat starts?
That's what I'm basically
Um,
just looking for a surprise round then.
Yeah. You would get that if you want to fly in on them.
Yep.
Sure. I'll transmogrify into a bow,
Okay.
and I'll let off two attacks.
Okay. Everyone, no combat order yet, unless you don't murk them.
So I'm gonna aim for. Can I try to intuit what I view as the most dangerous threat among these? 'Cause that's what I'd want to take down first.
So I think you fought zombies before,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
even
yeah.
level 1, you were able to get them. Elk are sturdy creatures. They would be able to do more damage if they attacked you, but they're easier to hit.
Okay.
Whereas the zombies don't seem to do as much damage, but they've got a little bit extra life in them.
All right. I tell Frederick I'll deal with the zombies. You deal with the elk, or at least for this first round of volleys.
Sure.
Yeah, and on my way down, I guess I'm also gonna cast minor illusion, and I want to put like a dog barking near the elk.
Okay. Yeah.
To maybe hopefully spook them.
Not to be a rules meister,
Oh,
but
it
with
could
minor
only be
illusion,
one
you can only
or-
make a sound or an image. You can't do
Yeah.
both at the same time with minor
All right,
illusion.
in that case, I will do the sound of a growling wolf underneath one of the elk.
Okay. So I'll just say this one,
Yeah, whatever. It's fine.
and
All
let's just
I'm gonna launch 2 arrows at 2 different zombies.
yeah, I believe it. Go for it.
That's going to be a 27 and a 17 to hit.
Okay. So I'll say that you'll go after the D100 and the D12.
Yep. Just
Yeah.
like a classic Legolas shootout, two arrows
Nice.
at the same time. The longbow does a D8 plus 6. So just take the D8. So the D100 takes 8 damage.
Okay.
The D whatever the other one you said was
D12.
takes 11 damage.
Okay. Both are still alive. The D12 is knocked prone by the force of your
Okay.
arrow.
So it would be the grade D20 that I
Okay.
would want to shoot at because I can hear that there's some action going on by the darker D10.
Mhm.
So I raise my hand, and you start to see my hand glow, and then from my hand, blast of light emits towards the elk.
It's guarding bolt.
Nice.
I
cast
used
Guiding
to
Bolt.
cast that spell.
Oh!
What?
Rough.
That one.
Oh, I thought the O was like I somehow insulted by saying I used to cast that.
So
spell.
like
I used to be a
legitimately,
different character.
Ash sees your hand glow as he's like coming down. And is like woohoo, and then it's gonna miss. And,
You're gonna have to
It's
duck
gonna
out of the way.
yeah, I don't know. Is it gonna try to?
Here's
Is it gonna
what's-
try to hit me?
Here's what I think is going to happen with that. Can you make a dexterity saving throw? Because I think what you do is you don't hit Diana, but you blast it like right by her face, and it's a little too close. So I think it spooks her a little, and she like jerks over to the right to avoid it.
A 9.
Okay. Another dexterity saving throw. You fall off as
No.
you're swooping down.
18.
Okay.
Better.
But you're able to
It's
kind of
snow.
like
You land.
Yeah. Yep. You like fall and it
It's
looks like you're
fluffy
almost
snow.
it's almost like you're falling back. It looks like you're gonna hit upside down ways, but you like flip over and you do the superhero landing
And
into
you're
the
knee
snow.
deep in snow.
Yes.
This is
So
totally random, but we gotta make some bots.
oh, we can make bots.
We should make some bots. Sorry, that's a totally different conversation.
Because I did that. I was like,
Yeah, I was looking at it like that'd be great for a bot. Anyway,
Yeah.
continuing on.
So
But
you
that
land
was-
over there on the opposite side, while they land by the hand.
oh, he fell off over there.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh
As you're-
no, Fred.
Yeah.
Ash could probably come
Well,
to you.
I
or-
assume,
That's not the-
I assume we're at roll for initiative now, though. We've all done an action.
Do you want to? Well, you haven't. Oh yeah, you
No,
did the thing.
I did, yeah.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, let's roll
I
for
did my
initiative.
illusion.
Hey, I didn't roll in the single digits.
Hey, congratulations.
13.
Okay.
Let me know when you're ready for me, Kelly.
I am almost ready. Okay. Yep. Go.
22. 4?
One
I mean, you
hundred-
did just fall
deep
off.
snow.
Yeah.
You did
really
just fall
deep
off the
snow.
snow, like off a horse. So,
You're not last.
oh, wow!
All
Did
of-
someone that won?
No. It's just that
Zombies have, like,
zombies have
negative
negative
on their
dex
dex, yeah.
modifiers, and all of them rolled single digits. So.
Ooh, yes.
Yep. Ash,
Woo!
you're up first.
Cool. All right. So I'm gonna use this pencil and try and actually reach this map. I want to go
Nice.
right there, so I can
I
5
dig
foot
it.
step.
That's one that
There's
that
no
has
5
an arrow
foot
in its chest.
And 5e.
Cool. It's prone. That one's prone right now.
The D12 is prone.
Oh, the 12 is prone. Okay, cool.
If you wanted to
It's-
attack the D12 instead,
I'm
you
just
roll it.
imagining like it's all
No,
fluffy
it's
snow,
fine.
so I know that like the combat's gonna go the normal way, but I'm imagining like that one got knocked prone, like it's like 3 feet under the snow, like.
Oh.
Just, just gotta hack off its ankles. All right. Cool. Hit one. Maybe. We'll
Probably
see.
gonna hit a zombie.
It's gonna be a 15.
That's gonna hit.
15. Yes. Cool. The next one is 16.
Yep.
Hot. All right. I need to get some magical weapons. Why don't I have any?
Yep. You do need them. On the bright side, they don't have resistance.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Double sixes. So it's gonna be 20 points of damage.
It is on death's door for the second point of its life, and it's
Okay.
knocked prone
Yes.
from the
Oh,
force
man.
of your weapon.
Knocked prone.
Yep. The D100 is going to slowly stand up. Oh wait, you attacked the D100. I'm sorry. That was my mistake. That one's dead.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
Sorry.
Lovely.
I forgot that one took damage
Awesome.
already.
What
You're
weapon
fine.
did you attack with?
I have 2 rapiers that I
Ash rushes up.
yeah. Just
This
like
one's going to
super-
have
That's
its
fine.
movement to stand,
That's cool.
move 5 feet towards Ash,
Yeah.
and it's going to try and just slam you
Yeah. You could try.
with a 9.
Yeah. That's
So-
no.
It's not gonna do it.
It's half my AC.
Jesus Christ.
This is
And
why I
the
go up into the
D10.
middle of shit. Although now you have mage armor up, you bet.
Walks
It's not
over.
mage armor, it's special Kelly armor.
And
Okay.
It's
Robomofo says hello to you.
Hey,
Hello,
Robo-Mopo!
And another
Hi.
9 as it just tries to slam. So you dodge out of the way, or maybe they slam against you, but you just like buff, you know. It's
That's how
like
I feel.
it's like a
that's,
chest
that's
bump.
where Ash is at today.
uh
He's just like, I'm in frat houses. Go away.
huh. Fair enough.
Keg stand.
Yeah. Emmett, is your turn.
would it take
Yeah, so
my
Ash went to
action to
Bar
help
Call.
this guy out
Mine
of the
was a frat
snow?
point.
I would say
That's
yes, but if you wanted to like throw some, like you want to do one hand up and then throw something like a dagger or something with disadvantage, or fire something
Ooh,
with
ooh, ooh.
disadvantage.
Could I like park my?
You could have Diana try and pull him up too.
What I was thinking is I could just park Diana like right next to him, like so he could grab on and like
Do you
pull
not
up.
have rope?
I assume taking a rope and throwing it would be my
Yeah.
action. So
Yeah.
Oh.
I was kind of hoping to do the cool like ride down and like just pull him up. Well, but that's too.
That
would
would be. I really like the flavor of that. If
Could
you want
lasso.
to try
Yeah.
and
Well,
pull him up while like firing something off.
Really?
I don't, it takes 2 hands to fire a
No,
longbow.
I'm thinking like a. Oh, you don't have Eldritch.
No, I was thinking that I would keep going and lance them. Like I pull them up and then get into the actual
Do it.
fray. All
Go
right.
for it.
So what's the check you want me to make to pull them up?
Strength check.
Ooh.
Athletics?
+0.
Athletics?
10.
I'm going to say you can either pull them up and like it'll take the rest of your action to get them onto Diana.
Oh, that's nice.
With that, or you could pull him up and like kind of drop him on the
That's
ground.
what I was planning on doing.
And
Anyways.
then still.
I assume
yeah.
he's hurt. I don't want him in the fight. I just want him out of the snow
Yeah.
and able to run.
Okay, so then you could do that, and as you pull him up, like he's pretty heavy. So you pull him up and kind of drag him a few feet before you're able to drop him because he's just in full plate armor, and you could tell, and he's wearing the uniform. You could tell that this is one of the paladins.
Cool.
I'll get up on D10 there, and I've got bonus action transmogrify to the lance,
Mm-hmm.
and the lance actually will need to get the exact stats up. I think it has reach,
Lances have reach. Yeah.
so I guess I'll be 10 feet away.
So it's versatile, and you can.
So like I turn the horse like starboard side and it's going to be yes, okay. That'll be
Nice.
very good. 17 plus 9, 28
Yep.
to hit.
Fuck him up.
And then that's a D12, which is high variance. 7 plus 6, so 13 damage.
All right, you knock him prone.
Can I still hit him? Oh, I now have advantage on the next attack, right?
Well, I was gonna say it would be like half. Oh no, you know what? Yeah, because you use your movement. Go for it.
Okay.
Because I was thinking a two-handed
Wow.
thing.
Oof. The advantage was good there. 9 plus 9, 18
Yeah.
to hit. And then D12 again. That'll
Nice.
be a 10 plus 6, so 16 damage.
Gets him.
Alright, so the first blow knocks him prone, the second blow into the ground takes
Yup.
him out. Sounds good to me. I was doing the D10 there. Sorry if that changes anything.
It doesn't because
The
here's the thing.
D10 was just the one closer.
I was giving the D10 the damage, but then you said D12.
Oh,
So-
I was rolling a D12. That's what I was talking about.
So in my head, I was just like, "Oh shit! I've been doing damage to the D10, but he just said D12. I'll just pull up the D12 and pretend it did it right."
No,
So in the
I just
end,
normally don't roll this dice for damage.
on the bright side, you got him.
Yes.
Next up is this elk, who watched you fall. And it doesn't, like, you were kind of the closest thing to it, and the dog barking, or sorry, the wolf growling, drew its attention, like, from there to, this area, and in that he sees you. And give me
Sorry.
1 second.
You're the wolf. You're the growler.
No, I need to,
How could you fool the elk?
okay.
Oh my
And
goodness.
it just starts charging at you. I need you to make a dexterity saving throw with disadvantage. Oh, no, with
Yeah, because you
regular.
landed on your feet.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot that he did that.
10.
Okay. He barrels through you. Oof, you take max damage. That's 9 points of damage. And then just roll a strength check. Okay, you're not knocked prone.
okay.
On the right side.
Eight.
Okay. Yeah, so you,
What's that on the horizon? Another elk.
it really does just barrel through you, and it gets, like, its full movement, and then, like, it starts, like, walking around, like, in circles again, like, confused.
Do they look undead?
Roll a perception check.
19.
Okay. I'm not gonna text you, yeah. They don't look undead, their eyes are funny, they'll, like, glaze over as if they're not
So
in
someone's
control of
controlling
themselves. So,
They don't look dead. They are dead.
so,
Magic.
next up is Friedrich.
Fucking magic.
So, brushing some of the snow and collecting myself from what seemed like kind of an odd-smelling elk. Wait. That's 1, 2, 3. Brilliant. Okay, so I kneel down into the snow and I put my hand on my shield, and then you hear my silver ring start to reverberate on my shield, and I cast Thunderwave.
Mm-hmm.
So that would target the D12 and D10.
15 feet from self. Isn't it a cube?
In a cube, yeah.
So
So
like
it
you'll
would
have
be
to move a little bit.
1, 2, 3, and then that's the cube
Uh,
for Thunderwave, right?
15 foot, like in total, isn't it? Not radius.
I thought it was radius. Let me look.
It just
Well,
says
cubes don't have
Thunderwave-
radiuses, which makes it
I
more
mean,
difficult.
yeah.
But if it's
Like, I
15
always
feet,
thought-
is it 15 feet on each side?
I was thinking 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Like I was thinking
Yeah,
this.
that
so
would hit
yeah,
both of them.
yeah.
Oh,
And
you're saying
that
okay,
wouldn't
that
even
way.
hit
So then
our
you
good
would have to
friend
like
over here.
move. 1 second. 1, 2, 3. So you would have to move 1 up. To
Okay.
do- yeah.
Deal. Then
Yep,
I will.
You got it.
I
And
will take one step and kneel down.
con save also describe Thunderwave.
The is it thunder damage? Yeah, it's thunder damage. So
But describe the sound it makes.
We're not gonna have another avalanche, are we?
so it reverberates.
Fool. No, fly is still up.
You start to hear it reverberate, and then it's a. It starts with a low grumble, and then out of nowhere, a loud pop noise.
A spell emits a thunderous boom audible out to 300 feet.
That's awesome.
We'll deal with that. What kind of save?
It's a con save.
Elk fails. The D12 does not. So it still takes half damage, doesn't it?
On a failed save, it is still half damage.
Yeah.
For 13 damage.
So 13 and 7.
13 and 7.
No, Emma's just a city girl.
Okay, so the
But
elk dies. This one is still good, but barely.
may I make like I said, Emma's a city girl. May I make an intelligence check to be like, does she know that loud sounds cause avalanches?
I don't know if you necessarily would know
Do you even
that.
get snow in Taisho?
Not a terrible amount. Roll a history check.
She is
Anyway.
a traveler.
Yeah, I'm getting you on the travel. And here's the thing, like, you pretended that you were from Gyo anyway, so, like, that's kind of on the border. So, like, you probably did a little bit of studying.
Ooh, it's just not bad. History?
Yeah,
16.
yeah. Or I really should have done survival, but history works
Both
too.
would be 16.
Yeah.
Everything is a 16. I got a +1 in everything except charisma, so.
Okay. So, yeah, you would know, like, that was probably a bad idea.
Okay.
And if that didn't give it away, you hear a rumbling.
Okay. Alright.
It is
Awesome.
Ash's
Wow.
turn.
Cool. So you do the thunder wave. So Ash is a little bit anime, not gonna lie. You do that thunder wave, and he like literally, as he's attacking, is just like yes, and kind of does like the, like he
Yeah.
just does a little bit of like a happy dance in the snow. He's very happy right now. He likes having confident people along with him. So yeah, he's gonna attack this douche over here. 14.
That's
No,
gonna hit.
not 1.
No.
That's not a 7. Fuck. What happens?
I think what happens is, you tripped over yourself.
That's fine.
Dex
Am I
saving
prone?
throw.
Oh, okay. That yeah, alright. That's gonna be a 24.
Okay. You're not prone, but how you stabilize yourself is you kind of fall into the zombie.
That's fine.
And as you pull back, there's just like goop on your face a little, from just like the blood and guts that kind of, happen to
Do
it.
I know anything about how zombies are made?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
There's gonna be
Unless-
it's fine.
Roll a D100. Because some bards do have some necromancy type stuff.
I mean, I do have bardic knowledge.
Yeah, so.
Let me I don't know, 87.
Okay. No.
I kind of fucked that up.
Pretty much I was just like, oh yeah.
Terrible close.
There was this one guy who was kind of shady. Like, he was like the goth bard.
I'm alright with it.
Who was still going through his phase. Listened to a little too much MCR.
We all did
And
that. It's okay.
They definitely were like looking into this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
just because, you know.
Well, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you know that a vague amount of like, okay, they're created. You having the thing won't turn you into one if that's what you're worried about.
And so Leia knows a lot about zombie lore,
Uh
even if Ash doesn't.
okay.
And like getting that shit in your mouth, depending on what lore you're looking at, would definitely be like, ah, you're a zombie now. Have
Yeah.
fun.
In this lore, no.
Okay.
So Ash should not worry. Besides the fact that it's gross and smells bad.
Yeah. Besides the fact that he's definitely gonna have to like.
Right, but
cast
on the bright side, it
prestidigitation.
looks like it got on you and not on your new clothes.
Well,
at
he has
least.
prestidigitation specifically for this. That was the next. That was
Uh-huh.
the next spell he decided to take. Cause fuck you, that's fine.
And next up is that D12, and it's going to try and make a slam. That's a 3. So same thing, like it slams into you, and some more gut spittle just kind of pops onto your face. It looks like freckles now.
Just like freshman
Um,
year.
Uh, next up is this guy, and he's not looking good. Let me just see if he. Okay. He's able to stand up. And he weakly pulls
I
out
got
a
it.
bow.
Alright.
To try and shoot. It's gonna be with disadvantage.
Cool.
All right, that's a six twice. Let me just see what his mods are.
Keep
Okay.
forgetting.
Here's the thing. It's not enough. Oh no, wait. It is enough to hit. It has a fucking 8 AC.
Are you serious? That's lovely.
You would have hit with the nat 1 if you counted modifiers.
Yeah,
I would have hit with a
Technically.
nat 1. Technically, I would have hit with that nat 1.
Oh,
Hilariously.
that's fine.
But it's a nat
Are
1.
there
Yeah.
crit fails on attack rolls though? Is that like in the rules? of
No,
D&D
but-
5e?
So crit fails
I
or
like-
not, but like
Yeah, I like the flavor that comes from
Mhm.
a nat 1.
Yeah.
Um,
I was this kind of off topic, just like because we're in a fight. But I was reading
Yeah.
online, and because I'll forget it by the time discussion time happens, and someone made a really good point that like that changed my perspective on the nat 1 punishes because, and
Yeah.
I think it's fine at like our lower levels, but like for instance, if you're like a level 20 fighter, you're making like 4 attacks a turn, so you have like a 15% chance to roll a nat 1, and so like. It doesn't make sense that your fighter's like throwing his weapon all around when he's like a level 20 fighter. So I think the more the game scales, the less the nat 1 things make sense. But I mean, I'm okay with however you want to do it because you're the
Mhm.
DM. But that was just something that changed my perspective on it, which is why we don't do
Yeah,
it in our
I
game
really
anymore.
we need to remember to talk about this at the end of this because I have total thoughts on that.
Okay. I also read the failing forward thing.
Mhm.
And I tried doing that a little bit today with like your 8 and 13.
Yeah.
That gave you clues to maybe something put together. But anyway, he just very weakly and just manages to shoot a bow out and get this. This one's still
Nice.
walking
Okay.
around all crazed, all like crazed and not knowing what's going on. M, did you go?
No, I haven't gone yet.
Okay, so then it's your turn.
I look up.
It's coming.
I turn to D12.
Yep.
Are there others? Where are they?
There's more I don't know.
Okay, let me just look at my spells and see if I've got.
Found anything for location?
Oh. DM.
Yeah. X-ray vision, is that what you're going for?
2 things.
Uh-huh.
First of all, yes, I will activate the X-ray vision to see if I can find the other. So I'll activate my ring of X-ray vision to see if I can see other survivors.
Yep. 1 second. I just want to see, what is it,
That's it's only 60 feet radius or 30 feet
Yeah.
radius. It's not very
mile
long,
or 3
but
feet,
I can
what it
move
is. Yeah,
really
okay.
fast.
Yeah. I'm going to say, because you can see up through 3 feet of wood or dirt, and
Snow is obviously less compact than dirt.
yeah. So yes, you're able to locate. They all kind of fell, or ended up pretty close to each other. So you can, get to, 1 second. So you find like 2 more. This is not like where they actually are, but you do find 2 more. But the issue is, when you get those, there's more, and they're not in this immediate area. So when the person sees you flying around,
I'm not flying. I'm not flying around right
sorry.
now.
Okay.
I'm just looking around from where we are, and I'll start moving a little bit.
Because he's going to say there were 5. You'll hear there were 5 of us.
Okay. All right. And there's an avalanche just bearing
It's
down.
bearing down. I'm going to say you have 2 real life minutes. Starting.
All right. I'm going to
now.
look at Ash, and I'm going to say, I know you can. Don't fly. Get with me. And I'm going to get to those 2.
Yep.
And what I want to do is I want to create a wall of fire to like try to stop the avalanche to some degree.
Okay.
Over the top of these guys.
Okay.
But the problem is once I cast wall of fire, it's concentration, so I can't concentrate on flying and wall of fire at the same time.
Okay, so how are we doing this? From here?
Well,
or like.
I want everyone to be on top of them.
Is there like a logic check I can make
Would
as
wall
to
of
whether
fire
or not
work?
this is gonna work?
You would be able to insight him. So do your nature check.
A nature check. 12.
What's your intelligence modifier? What's yours?
My intelligence modifier is a +1.
Okay. Here's the thing. This is where the first avalanche ended.
Okay.
With that information, what you will.
Alright.
So you have 5 seconds to decide.
Okay. So 5 seconds?
No. 5 seconds to decide wall of fire or no.
Yeah. We're gonna wall of fire, which is gonna trap us here until. But no. What I'm gonna do is it coming from that way?
It's coming from here to here. So draw in the wall of fire how you want it.
Something like that.
I dig it. Yep. Makes sense. Okay. Now what?
We wait.
10 seconds.
Now we're waiting. That's all we can do, right?
Okay.
Except for dig.
How?
Let's be digging.
But it's 5. Does it look like it's gonna kill us?
Oh, it's here.
Okay.
Sorry. You roll a charisma, just a straight charisma check.
I have high charisma. Are there any changelings near me?
No. Sorry.
Hey, just straight charisma. 20.
All right.
Unnatural. 15 plus 5.
Cool. So look, it's a big ass fucking avalanche. It is scary.
But 10 feet high wall of fire.
We're getting there.
I know.
Luckily for you, you can tell that you're at the tail end of it. So if you were further up, this sort of thing would not work. It actually pushes against your wall of fire, and you feel it start to almost fade. But then at the last moment, you kind of give this last like push of energy, and you watch the snow kind of come around about like 50 feet back behind you. But this immediate area is okay.
And I'm assuming water is running down, right? Because that's
It's gonna become ice. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, is anyone getting wet right now?
Definitely. You're sitting in like the splash zone.
Yeah, okay, so I'm
at
still digging
SeaWorld.
because I know that this is going to turn to ice, right? Like, I can make
Yeah.
that logical deduction that
Yeah.
this water that I am currently knee deep in is going to turn into ice.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to, like, dig out these assholes in the snow.
Okay.
I'm just curious how this could affect snow. I mean, we only had so much time. You want to see it?
I want to see the.
This is the first part. And
Here,
then
hold on, I got it.
Just because if the snow is really wet, then I could maybe do something. But I don't know how much water is in the snow.
It's
technically.
all flood. Part redirect. Yeah, you could part or redirect this.
Yeah.
So you could definitely. I mean, it's also a 4th level spell.
Yeah. So.
Control
you could
water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can make this not hit you if you want to.
So what I'm going to do, is it possible for me to literally start to push both the snow and the water out as part of the redirect?
Yeah.
you see Friedrich get really concerned, and then he kind of drops down to a knee again, and then bows his head and starts uttering something that you can't quite hear, and then all of a sudden, particulates of snow and water start flying away from the party as literally we start to go down into the snow while I create a bubble around us that the water and snow are flying away from us and redirecting from us.
Cool.
So this would, I'm also trying to like uncover them while I'm doing this, and you see me trying to like force this divine water bubble outwards around us, and snow is flying out from underneath us.
Nice.
And I will expend that spell slot.
I will say there's probably about like a good 5 or 6 feet of snow before you hit grass. Are you intending to hit grass to create like a safe zone, or are you just looking to have enough to dig them out?
I'm just looking to dig them out. I don't
Okay.
necessarily need us to make it to the ground level. I just need us
Okay.
to start to see these guys and to protect us from
Okay.
what
So
could
we
be
have
a
3 of
longer
5
lasting
now.
issue.
Yes.
All right.
And I'm gonna say that took 30 seconds.
With my ring, did I see anybody else?
They seem to have fallen further than 60 feet away. Because like the avalanche happened from the top of the mountain. You don't know where on the mountain they were, but 3 of them made it all the way down.
All right. So do I still have some ring of X-ray vision? How?
Yeah, it lasts a minute, so
Okay.
you've got 30 seconds.
Okay. I'll just start riding up the mountain and try. Because I'm assuming is the avalanche still now?
It's still.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna start riding up the mountain and trying to see them with my last little bit of X-ray vision.
Okay, roll a Constitution check for Diana. Or are you running or are you Diana-ing? Sorry. Or both of you.
Well, I feel like because like I'm a lot lighter than Diana. And Diana's gonna like sink in all this fresh snow. So would I be? Does M intuit that it'd be better to maybe just try to go on foot or faster? We'll go with Diana. All right.
Okay.
So you want me to make a Constitution check for her?
Yep.
All right. It's a natural 11, and then I can find Warhorse here. I assume it's got to have a Constitution score. Yeah. +1, so it's the 12.
Okay. What I'm going to say is she's able to, because you're able to communicate. I'm going to say like you're able to see where they are. They're about like 200 feet up the mountain. You're only able to get that far because Diana just hauled ass. So she's a little tired. She might need a little time to recoup after this. But you're able to find the remaining 2 where they are. But you'll have to dig them out.
I have
And
create
you, and you
bonfire.
can't.
So I'll get up there and I'll start very carefully, like from above the snow, start melting it with create bonfire.
Okay.
To start, and I'll send Diana back to the safe haven over there.
Okay. So you're able to uncover the remaining 2, and they are unconscious.
All right. Well, we've got a healer, and
Yep. Okay.
I need somebody to help me carry these guys back.
I mean, at this point now, since we're out of combat, what's that elk doing? Is that elk just still chronic wasting disease?
Yeah, sorry.
Pacing around?
It died in the avalanche.
Yeah, I was gonna say it got buried in the avalanche.
Alright, cool.
Because it was like walking, it was just running in circles, and the avalanche parted, so it's underneath the snow right now.
Alright, cool. Then yeah, I would feel comfortable just heading that way once I see that I see the bonfire happening. The avalanche is completed, so I would make my way up that way.
Okay.
To assist.
So I am gonna do prestidigitation on anyone who is wet because I have it as a cantrip.
Nice.
So I'm gonna dry everything, and that's gonna be the first thing I'm gonna do, and then depending on how long we decide that takes, I'm going to light my prayer of healing candle and like bunch everyone together so that they're in the cone. But we never actually said what it does. Because I wasn't sure.
Prestidigitation?
No, prayer of healing, the candle that I bought.
Prayer of healing
Yeah, it's just a per healing candle.
Oh.
Alright,
Right.
So M comes back
Mhm.
kind of like out of breath with the like carrying like one of them over like the shoulder, and it's gonna be like, "Ugh, can we take a break here for a moment? I'm kind of spent, and I know Diana could use a break too.
So my question is this like good once a day? Is it like
It's,
anytime you enter into
it's,
the field?
once a day.
Okay, cool. All right. Cool.
Alright. I'm assuming we're long resting or short resting here for just like taking a quick breather. Diana needs it.
Yeah.
I don't
we
actually.
will-
I mean, I need it for spells,
Sure.
I guess, but I don't need it for health.
Yeah, so I'm gonna do that. So that's gonna be 2d8 for all the
Yep.
injured. Great. So that's. So I don't have like a spell casting. Do I use my spell casting modifier? Or do I use the candles?
Let's see. It'd be +3.
Cool. So that's gonna be 15
Nice.
for all 5 of the paladins.
Okay.
And then also I will do my Song of Rest.
Nice.
While
So
we do that, which is an extra d6 for anyone
Awesome.
using hit die during the short rest.
okay. I'm going to say between them. I mean, here's the thing. They all have levels of exhaustion,
Right.
but I'm going to say functionally they're at full health. It's just they are at one level of exhaustion.
I mean, right.
So, or actually, 1 second. It might be 2 levels. I'm not sure. I want to double
You
check.
are taking a full short rest, though?
It has to be cured after a long rest.
Gotcha. Well,
'Cause
we know,
they've-
because we're going to have to go
Yeah,
to
they
town.
have to. They've got 2 levels of exhaustion, which just means disadvantage on ability checks, and their speed is halved.
Okay, cool. So it's going to take us a long-ass time to get to town. That's what we're saying?
Yeah. Well, because the issue is, I mean, they've been under the snow for up to.
No, it's
2 or
totally
3,
legit. It's totally legit.
Yeah.
It is.
And they also
it
have
is
not
just-
eaten and like.
I've got food. I've got
Yeah.
owlbear
How,
pelts.
how bad are the paladins still looking after all of the barrage of heals that have hit them?
So they look a little like hypothermia-ish. So if you leave them by a bonfire, they're just gonna huddle over. Like they're all like pretty beefy people, and they look like they want to talk to you, but like they need to conserve their energy.
Okay.
So you get a thank you. We'll talk, and then they converge on the bonfire because I'm assuming between all of you, someone's making a bonfire.
Yeah.
Yes, I
And then
have a flint.
pocket of mundane items. Can I just like pull out a hot cup of
Candles?
cocoa for each one of them?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
One of them actually looks really interested in that. And she goes,
handing them out.
"Oh, that's a quite funny trick you got.
That's a good. It's a good pocket. Kind of past the pocket.
That's good. Good. Thanks." Just a little out of breath.
Yeah, no.
Do you
Ash is
talk-
just like wandering around, like
Mhm.
literally his song of rest is him humming while he's also like making sure they're all warm.
Nice.
Like,
Yeah.
because
And I've got create bonfire, so I'll be using
Yeah.
that to make people
Yep.
warm too.
I assume that was
we have
they
a
are
fire in
huddled.
this
they got
like igloo
cocoa.
thing we got going on.
They've you were able to get the water out of their cloak, so they're using that as best they can. They've functionally they're healed, but they have 2 levels of exhaustion. And they need to spend the short rest to help with their hypothermia.
Can I ask to hear their story of what happened?
Yeah. One of them. 1 second. I had their names a minute ago. That's frustrating. Let's see if I could. There we go.
Friedrich would also insist to know because Captain hasn't informed me either.
Excuse me. I'm sorry. Yeah. So one of them talks. He's got wispy gray hair, long, about shoulder length. He's elven. And seems to be like a high elf. So he used to, at one point of his life, be a noble, or maybe he still is and is opting to, do good in the world rather than sitting in his high tower. And he goes, "Yes, we were on our way to the village to get survivors, and well, I didn't hear it. but Lead did, and she said, "Did you hear that?" And I went, "No." And suddenly there was a stampede of wild elk. I don't know what she heard before that. And Lead will go, "Yeah, there was like a weird flute sound." And you don't.
Whatever Ash has in his hand, he just kind of like chucks down on the road and just, God damn it. What the fuck was his name? This is all in character. What the fuck was his name? The guy who makes the goddamn instruments with the magic and stuff.
I don't know. It's been like 3 weeks since I saw him.
I had it written down on my
Sorry,
other sheet.
Above table, I know who this is, but I'm gonna say like in character.
Above table, my character wouldn't remember. They
Yeah.
spent the night at his house.
Yeah.
There was a lot of partying.
And the elven guy who he goes, "Who do you know? What do you know about this?"
Well, we know that there's a guy who makes flutes that control animals.
Like this one.
Yeah, or
I've
like
got
this
2.
one. I've got several. Yeah, we've got
Yeah.
several.
That who would do such a thing? Why?
Somebody trying to
I
cause
mean,
an
there's, like-
avalanche, it looks like.
Is the person?
Though some of us cause avalanches without intending to.
The worst.
And just so you know, Sable was the one. His name is Sable. Sable's the one that you called out from the thing. And he goes, "Yeah, that was not a smart move, Friedrich. Don't do that." And he.
I was buried or whatever. You start to hear me like kind of like get a little frotzy over here.
Ash is like, nah, he took care of some shit. Also, we're all alive.
Also almost killed us all.
Yeah, but we didn't die.
This man
Cool
you
bit.
spoke about is he looking to cause trouble?
No,
Where is
No.
he?
He didn't do this.
He's a good guy.
He just makes the flutes.
He just makes lots of instruments for whoever will pay him.
Well, he needs to stop.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
It's not
Where
a
is
good
he?
way to start a free society.
That we couldn't tell you, and I mean, ultimately,
I
it
mean-
doesn't super matter.
It's clear there needs to be some sort of regulation on his instruments. I'm not here to hurt or punish him, but he needs to stop until we figure out how to deal
Oh my.
with what's already out there.
You believer in regulation of magic, my friend?
Oh, one more time.
Are you a believer in regulation of magic?
Magic just saved your ass.
He goes, "No, I use magic myself, but I am trained. I think anyone who has these abilities must be trained to use them."
He's trained. He's very good, actually, at what he does.
Okay.
It's not his fault
Maybe
how
he's
people
just
use
irresponsible with it. You can be trained and irresponsible.
Yes, well, maybe if you've lived here a little while and saw what we've been working through, you would feel differently.
Let's just put it this way, alright? I get what you're saying, but I don't think the guy who makes the flutes that cause the elks to move to make the loud noise that causes the avalanche is the problem when we just caused another avalanche with a different kind of magic. Lots of magic can cause avalanches. I don't know if this was the particular tree to be barking up.
I lean over and say, "You're welcome."
Ash will be like, "Thank you." It's very
Um,
sincere. It's actually a very sincere thank you.
You did help me win this argument.
Sable is not happy, but he also realizes there's bigger fish to fry. And he goes, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. What do you know of any people who bought his instruments that might have been responsible for the ones who...
I don't know
You
anything.
have them?
This is not the
Maybe.
tree. Okay, so let me put it this way. You've got another troop of guys who are a village over, and they're dying. They haven't come back in a couple days. We got another thing going on in the village over there. I'm worried about that. I gotta get you guys home. I don't give a rat's ass about the flutes.
Look,
Okay?
we know there's super shady people all up over this place. I'm sure one of them bought some, and they're using it right now to fuck with you,
Okay, and that's a problem.
right?
We have to solve it.
Not this problem I've been hired to solve.
Do you feel confident in your abilities at this time to seek out this person.
There's an
Perhaps
army of
maybe-
undead between us and your base, and you're worried about a flute.
When you put it that way, you are very downgrading the power of this flute.
Maybe we should.
I mean,
focus
okay,
on
you
what we
said
can
you were
focus
heading
on
to the town.
Realistically, Sable.
Right. Why were you heading to the town?
We were getting the people out of there before any more danger could happen.
So danger is there.
Possible. There's danger everywhere around here.
So,
there-
but we
maybe
could
not
go to town and
immediate.
maybe find some safety for you to sleep in a bed.
It's possible.
Are you willing to stay in town tonight?
Yes, that's what we're here for. I'm not
Okay.
going home empty-handed.
Good, because we need to go.
Okay.
Let's get you to town,
Mm.
and then we'll leave.
Sounds good.
Is this okay with you guys? I'm kind of taking a point man here. Point woman.
Yeah.
Is
Alright.
there? I picked out a hangnail and I'm bleeding. Is there a
Oh.
napkin I could use
Uh,
or something? But yeah.
I don't think I have
Last
band-aids
time-
on me anymore.
Oh no, there's the insecurity conference first
There
aid
is,
kit.
Yes, this is why I put
Bless
this shit
that.
in here.
Oh man.
Okay, all right. So,
Fun fact.
Center for 21st Century Studies, who graciously hosts us and give us
Yep.
a lot of money to do with you.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot for academic people.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I need that.
gave
Thank
us
you.
this very awesome.
First aid kit.
Yeah. So for the conference, they gave out first aid kits for their
Conference swag.
for their conference swag, and I have one in like every room of my
But
house
when that
now.
hangnail
Yeah.
just won't quit.
Yeah. But for the record, for everyone else who's in here, there's other stuff in here. You know, if you get like the worst, I don't know, if the computers attack you, which
Uh-huh.
happens. There's other stuff in
Bless
that
the
little.
Is there an
insecurity
EMP
conference. Anyway, I'll clean that up later.
All
Alright. So yeah, Sable he's here for his mission. He doesn't care that they're exhausted. And the rest of the crew also seem to really want to pursue that way. So anything before you go? You short rest. Do you
Yeah,
want
we
to talk
short
about
rest.
anything?
We walk with them over to the town because I don't want them to get into a fight with undead and
I don't know. I
they're
mean, is there
safe.
anything we're gonna? I don't think so.
Hmm.
I think I'm just gonna keep handing out cocoa.
Yeah, I
Okay.
don't really care about these guys.
Oh.
They're means to an end.
Well,
Wow.
I'm just kidding.
Aylin is the one that was like, really loved the cocoa. So she goes, what is, how do you do that?
Shit. Kelly's making me come up with a story about this cloak on the spot 'cause I didn't have one.
Oh,
Huh.
oh, it's okay. I'm out of breath. Who are your friends, Friedrich?
This is Ash, and that's M. And
Are they new recruits?
they
You could say that.
they're here to help. I don't know if they're here for the long run, but we'll see if we can maybe enlist them.
Nice. Is did Tomas? Are they one of Tomas's?
I don't know if they'd reckon themselves to be part of Tomas's troop. He got left behind. I don't know if maybe he's a would call it B team in this mission. And then I kind of look away because this is I don't want to get into it really. But
Oh, trouble
Uh,
amongst friends.
no trouble. Anyway, not really trouble. Whatever.
That's unfortunate. I'm sorry.
No, the jacket.
while this happens, I'm gonna get up. and
It's more
go
like
pray. Can I roll a religion check?
Yeah.
Yeah.
no. Go ahead.
This, I don't know. I just found it. It found me. I don't know. Shit happens that way. But it's just a jacket. Shit comes out of it. He like pulls out a ferret, stuffs it back in the jacket.
And one of the guys who was kind of like looking over, he's he looks to be like too tall to be a dwarf, too short to be a human. Kind of this weird. You can't tell exactly what race he is,
Dwarf man.
but like he looks over and he goes, "Can we eat it?"
I was laughing.
Like Ash just has this like look
He's-
on his face, like
they are
he's
hungry.
never. So I mean, they have. So he has a bunch of bugbear jerky.
That's true.
So that's what he has been giving them.
Okay.
He kind of like pulls the ferret out of his jacket. And he kind of looks and no, you can't eat it. Like,
Oh, so it's a pet.
Yeah, sure.
And at which point, like, Aelin just kind of just leave him alone.
Oh, and he like has this look on his face, and he from a different pocket pulls out a day-old sandwich. He's like, I do have this though.
Grabs it, one bites it, done.
Can I roll another religion check?
For what?
I just want to ask my god a question.
What are you asking him?
Do you have any pointers of which way we should go here?
Oh, you would know, like, you know
Okay.
the area.
Okay, we know what area we want to. Alright.
Yeah.
I didn't know if they're because the avalanche, and then since we're like
Here's
far
the
away,
issue.
like I guess maybe to specify, like, is there a way that we can take where we will have the least amount of encounters? Like, could you guide
Yeah.
us? Not necessarily like where do we go, but like specifically how can we get there with the least amount of trespass?
Okay. So you pray to your god, but you don't really. You're kind of a little scattered right now. You don't get that connection, but you weren't here last week, but the captain has a set of prayers to her god that everyone's supposed to know. So maybe you could try seeing if her god could give guidance.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's 23.
Okay. Yeah, so you kind of feel the avalanche changed the landscape, the route that you would usually go. But you kind of just get like this sense of like maybe if we go a little bit up the mountain and into this, turn left here, and then I remember there was this this nice little clearing where the animals used to be at, but I don't think it's safe to be there anymore. So let's go a little bit further up, and then so it's kind of like up and over a few times, and it takes a little bit longer.
Okay.
But I will say with that guidance, and also, I mean, the other paladins are going to be praying with you as well. Do you pray? Out of curiosity, doesn't?
No.
Okay.
So Ash is gonna look like as they are praying.
Mhm.
Ash is gonna like be paying attention to the prayers and like kind of like learning them as
Yeah. Yeah, because I think that only M was the only one that learned before or learned properly. Oh no, you did a little bit, I think.
Yeah, so
when
depending on
they
how
were
you
doing
want
that,
to,
yeah.
how you as the DM. So basically, I'm going with like Ash is an oratory learner.
Yeah.
Like that's just how he learned shit, and so that's
Mhm.
it goes along with like the actor feat and stuff that I took. So, basically, at any time anyone is saying a prayer, Ash will like be
Yeah.
paying attention, and whenever you feel that he's been paying attention long enough, I'm cool with
Okay.
that.
I would
He
say you know a little bit. You don't know all of them because you're learning them as they come up naturally.
right, yeah,
M learned it like
yeah,
through a schooling setting almost.
right,
So
yeah.
what you've heard, so far you've heard, like the guidance prayer
Mhm.
and the salt and burn prayer.
Cool.
So those are the ones that you know you're good with.
Cool.
I'm going to say it's around. It gets dark pretty early up here. So it's twilight by the time you get to town.
That's fine.
And there's there's chimneys burning. There's you can hear some just town noise. As you approach, it doesn't seem as you're approaching that like there's danger in this town right now.
Cool. Does it look to be an inn?
Wait, it's
or
almost
like
dark?
a central building?
I didn't know it would take that long.
Well, I mean, they go at half speed, and we
Yeah.
had to take a longer route to not engage danger. So,
Well,
is that a bad thing?
No.
I mean, we weren't gonna do all three of these in one day.
No, we're hopefully going to do 2 in one day, though. That was my
I mean,
hope.
you could leave them here and
That's
just,
what I'm planning on
uh-huh.
proposing when we get there.
So yeah, you get to the town. And Sable will turn to you and go, well, I appreciate you. What was your mission here?
Save
rescue
your-
you.
And then that's it.
Yeah. Well, then,
Make sure
Yeah.
you do your job.
I mean, make sure you're alive to do your job.
Okay, because at first he was looking a little
Yeah,
angry.
Ash sees this, and he's just like,
Yep. And
we'll probably stay here overnight, though.
Oh, we
Yeah.
could probably make it to the
Twilight.
other town.
That's infested with dead things or assholes.
The one that's in the one that
This
Is
one's
infested.
cheery. There's lights in the windows.
yes,
There's
but there's
food being
another
cooked.
troop of soldiers who are gonna die.
There's smell of roast.
They could be held up in some bar, and there could be undead circling them. They could need some walls
Do you
of
want-
fire.
To fight. Do you have any more?
Well, yeah, I got 2 more. 1 more once we fly there. If you don't want to go, we don't have to. But I'd prefer to get there sooner, spend the night there, and then we head out and solve the last thing. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm kind of being I'm being a little frigid today. I'm sorry. I'm a little frustrated. I don't understand why we're not a full unit. Why, like, that captain just got to take away a member of our party. You know, I've been traveling with Franz for months now. It's kind of annoying. It's like my first time fighting without him. And
I mean, it is extremely. It is. No, he didn't deserve that.
yes,
In fact, that 13-year-old should, at very minimum, have been working with him.
Um,
but
the,
even
the,
so, it's like just
But anyway,
I think
Go
Sable's
eat,
gonna like want to learn a little
please.
bit more.
Go
And
eat.
he goes, "Are you questioning the captain?"
yes.
see, I don't have to have blind loyalty to your captain.
Just straight up.
And
So
he-
they're not part of the troop. Man,
What
you can't hold it against them. They're not on the captain's orders.
I mean, clearly they are. Are they not on a mission?
It's less about duty
Sent by
and more
her.
about gold, I think.
It's less about duty and more about
Killing a necromancer.
doing the right thing. And also, we have other personal ties. That's all that matters.
What personal ties?
I don't like undead things. I want them to die.
Fair enough.
Got a bitch of a mom.
But anyways, all I'm saying
Is your mom?
is that
No.
while Franz
no.
is carrying around sandbags, we're out fighting things, and Franz is a very
And he
competent
he
fighter.
starts laughing and he goes, "Ah."
Franz is a very
Sandbags.
competent fighter, and we could have used him against the Elks. Maybe we wouldn't have had to make another avalanche if he stabbed something. in
okay,
the-
you gotta get off that horse.
I'm just kidding. You're fine, Frederick.
Gotta-
Everyone is okay.
Gotta get off that steed right there.
No,
Just
and
come
so
on down.
so that's just a little annoying. And then I also just
We have
you
a
know-
very competent person with us.
Yes, Frederick's fine. I mean, you know, better than this guy who can barely wield a bow because he's so exhausted.
Wow.
Oh wow.
All right, so I think that y'all should go get food. We should get you settled before
No.
we head out.
I think we're good.
I like you, Frederick.
And he turns down your help and motions for his party to follow. And they all just turn
Yes.
right away. But the only one that acknowledges you after is Aelin, and she's like, just waves to Ash and walks.
So
away.
he pulls out from another one of his pockets. He pulls out a jar of fireflies and just hands it.
Oh
And
man.
he's just like, "This is for you." Before we go.
Oh.
Actually, let me see.
Do a sleight of hand check on behalf of her.
On behalf of her,
Like, cause you
Okay.
could tell that she looks at Sable as you try and give her something, so it's clear that like whatever you're about to give her, she has to hide, and she's like fumbling to get it in.
Okay, so the first roll I made was actually for like a charisma, like
Use that
friendly
roll.
roll.
Or use the better of the rolls that you just did.
All right. Well, in that case, sleight of hand is going to be 26.
Okay, that's good.
And the other one will be. Can I use?
Oh, no,
should it be
it's just,
performance or persuasion.
Well, no, it's just she
Or whatever.
takes it
Yeah.
and
No,
she's
he was
trying
just
to
trying
hide
to add
it
a
and
little
you-
bit like extra.
Oh,
He was trying to add a little
oh,
bit of extra like
Okay,
oomph to this gift.
okay,
That's all.
okay.
So performance or persuasion.
Just do a straight charisma check.
Just a straight charisma check. Ah,
You have a
What?
good modifier.
still only a 10.
I mean, you've already been so friendly to her. She already like thinks highly of you. So and like as you help her like stash it into her bag, she's able to like get back in line, and Sable whips his head around, and checks, and she's already like. So you're able to stealth that firefly, jar, before she got in trouble.
Frederick, what you did before with the water and that was really cool. How'd you do that?
Well, I've never actually tried with snow before. I can do a lot of things with water, but only once per day. It makes me a little woozy actually, kind of like I'm standing on water. So I try only to do it here and there. I'm used to, my people are seafaring, so we live on water, and I'm used to it. It was pretty neat what you did with the fire there.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, kind of opposites. You work with the water, I'll work with the fire, I guess.
Okay, do.
I'm not really a pyromaniac, though. I don't really like setting things on fire. Just the way it's gotta be, I guess.
Like, Ash kind of looks at you like,
It's
like
true.
this kind of like, be honest with yourself face.
Flashback to M setting Max at that point setting everything on fire at that one fortress.
Yeah.
It's effective.
So,
Do we want to try to make it our way to the zombie boys tonight?
well,
Frederick, they're your friends. They're your pals, right?
I'm torn myself. I would do better after a night's rest, but I'm eager to help my friends.
Neither of you seem particularly hurt.
You want me to do the cool?
well, you've made this place pretty frigid. So, now we have to go.
Fair.
And I'm just going to
Stand
say,
up.
we're a team. I get 2 votes because I've got Diana, and we're kind of 2. No, I'm just kidding. But we're a team. There's 3 of us. If you 2 want to stay, I'll oblige.
I mean, if our votes are counted in animals also.
Oh yeah, you've got a lot of votes. that was a joke. Diana will go along with whatever.
Do I, as above table,
How's Diana doing, by the way?
She's doing fine.
Okay.
Does Friedrich
Mm.
recall any enemies that he's fought since working, enlisting at the fort? Is anything stronger at night? Do I recall?
It's definitely harder to fight certain things at night because, not everyone has dark vision. These things tend to. A lot of times they're easier to, it's not that they're harder to fight in the night, but they're easier to fight during the day because they're nocturnal and the day seems to weaken them. So, it's not like they get strength,
At night.
they get weakened.
So, since I would remember that, I would make the point to say they are weaker during the day. It would be advantageous for us to wait till morning.
Now, not to grumble, but that same argument then could be made for why we need to leave now, because it's near dusk, right? Or
It's twilight.
It's twilight, yeah. Your friends, if they're still fighting the undead in the place where they are, I'm talking about the troop that's been gone too long.
Yeah.
Let's assume they're holed up and fighting undead there. Maybe another night is what breaks them, right? If another night of strengthened undead attacking. I'm just saying, logically, as your point. But if you think it's safer for us to stay here,
So, did they walk away? I'm assuming they all.
Yeah,
okay.
they're gone.
It's just the 3 of us. Yeah, I mean it. Above table, my character is I don't know spell slots to make it, but we would do better if we would wait. So I'm good either way.
I mean, yeah, Ash has used basically none of his things. One day, one of these nights, in sometime in the next week, you promise me a hot bed, a a hot meal, and a warm bed for an entire night, and we can go today.
Okay. Yeah, okay. What I will say is I will promise you this, but I can't fully promise you because I can't control when the flying undead just decide to attack. But I will
understand
kill them and you can stay in bed.
Good.
I dig it. All right.
It'll be nice and warm with our wall of fire surrounding us.
Yeah. All right.
Alright. Alright, so what I want to do is I kind of want to get the right direction from you, Frederick, and then I kind of want visible silence. So we'll be flying without... I can't see in the dark, but I can make things glow and help see. But that's just going to attract some unwanted attention. So I want to kind of fly by dead of night, a little higher than maybe, so that maybe we can avoid some of those flying things and then get there.
I'm assuming Diana also does not have dark vision.
She's a warhorse, so I don't think they have dark vision.
Dwarves do not have dark vision.
So,
No.
so I just want us to all be clear
Is
about
it a
what
full moon?
we're doing.
Is it? Yeah. What's the weather like?
Yeah.
Can we?
that's
What's the
important.
visibility at night? The thing is we're going to be traveling at 80 miles an hour, and
Yeah.
it's twilight,
We're
so we still got a little bit
traveling.
of visibility.
Okay.
I'm gonna say, like, I mean, it also, you're gonna get there in like 10 minutes with that flying speed. So, because they're like, you know, all a day walking journey from the fortress,
Right.
but like, they're kind of like arctic, so like one's here,
All right,
one's
right,
here.
let's just go. Let's just go. Let's do it.
So
Alright, we're going to
when-
fly there.
When we all go outside, I bow my head and then I reach out towards them and I cast guidance.
Okay.
Just because we don't know where we're going. So I utter Boa under my breath, may my God guide you. And then there's a little flash. So hopefully that might
Guidance gives me like a D4 on my next roll.
a D4 on your
It's a skill check.
Which I assume is going to be survival to fly where we got to
It's
fly.
skill check or saving throws or.
before the spell ends.
What's the duration?
Up to 1 minute.
Okay.
So like now.
Roll a D4 to add one ability check of your choice. The spell ends when you do make that choice.
Alright, let's bolt.
All right, I'll say you'll give him that like when it's time for him to like
Right.
look for. Here, can you roll a quick religion check?
Yeah, I'm gonna say that guidance.
17.
Okay, so you were channeling that, like, looking for your god, you know, because that's who you call upon. But you feel, like, a different power try to, like, take over your god, and then, like, another one just, like, wallops over those two and then just gives that instead. And it's kind of hard to tell, like, who's what, but, like, you expected one thing, then something else, and then something just, like,
A totally
Barreled
a
in.
third thing.
yeah.
So you've learned that there's maybe some gods fighting over this one.
Yeah. And
I'm a little shaken. I don't know if I'm chosen or if I'm yet to serve my true God.
Or
Um,
M, there's some shit going on.
yeah, but he doesn't know, so, like, that's, like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
NPC nervous tick from like 5 NPCs ago.
Alright, so we're
Anyway,
now
sorry.
flying
Yeah.
Yep.
at twilight towards the...
Petrosk is the name of the town.
Cool.
And so you get there, you see it's frozen at this point of the year, but sometimes it's a moving river, and it just kind of ends. Like there's a little like a small lake, but like it's not.
So the river
huge.
flows into the lake?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's completely frozen over. It's not even that big of a lake anyway. And it's a small town, probably around 200 people at most. And most of it seems residential farming. They seem to not do a lot of trade. It's just they survive and have all the resources, or they make the resources that they need. It's very, very still, just on first glance. Like, you guys were talking as if you were imagining some sort of fight, some sort of like stronghold, and they're the last line against this undead, but like there's almost no movement.
Cool.
Is there any lights on or anything?
A couple, yeah.
Okay, that's good. I mean, I guess we'll just have to land and.
Do you land in the middle of town? Do you land like in the entrance? In the middle, there's like a kind of like not city square, but a village square.
Let's
I
land,
think
in,
village
where
square.
trade.
Yeah.
land in the square.
I mean, like unless there's no lights around the village square.
I mean, there's a couple. People seem to like it's the time of day where people will pack up. Maybe a couple, or maybe the ones that want to sell some special brew.
Basically, I want to make sure that we're not randomly like falling into a trap.
Okay.
So if the village square has like a little bit of movement or like
Yeah.
lights starting to come on or whatever, it's fine. Like I'm.
There's a couple of lights. There's a couple of lights, like not just in the square, but like in the houses. But it's not lively like the other one was, where people were making dinner and this and that.
It was basically a Christmas story.
Kind of.
But yeah.
This
Okay.
one.
Sorry.
It's like
Ash
the
is
dreary
sad.
version.
Ash is so sad.
Here's the thing:
this
the people are moving. Like you almost didn't realize there were people at first.
Yeah.
Because people move at a certain pace with a certain agenda.
Right.
That you're used to seeing, but these ones, they're like you almost question whether or not they were undead because they're moving so slow, but they're like their backs are hunched and they're just slowly dragging their feet.
And we just
land in the
the square.
with a
How do
unicorn.
they react to that?
I'd say there's maybe two people there passing by, and they look.
I'm gonna insight that shit. Is that like normal or whatever? This is gonna be a 26.
I mean, people love Diana. Like, she is a gorgeous
Right.
unicorn. People should, like, even if they've seen one of her, like,
All
seen a million unicorns in their lives, it's like, she's pretty. Good horse. And then walk, Because think of it like, how many dogs have we seen in our life? When do we not go up to a dog and pet it?
Right. So I just rolled on that one on an Arcana check, and so I'm likely that just means I don't know.
I mean, it doesn't mean you don't know. What are you trying to figure out?
So I'm trying to figure out if it's like this, like magically depressed, or if it's like, or if it's like just they've been through tons of trauma, and so not so much on the happy-go-lucky.
So here's the thing,
Somewhere.
you I think what happens is you're staring, and it's almost like a creep stare. You're just like you forget to be subtle
Ash
about
is
it.
tired.
And the person notices.
Yeah. That's fine.
And they consider walking up to you or not.
Right.
But you're just staring so hard that they need to know, and they slowly amble up to you. And I go, "What do you want?" And at that point, you don't see battle worn. You don't see any physical things. So you just feel like you get the sense that it's something sapping their energy, some sort of magical sapping.
Cool. All right.
And they go, "Who are you?"
Well, I'm Ash. What's the captain's name? I'm sorry.
You never asked.
You know.
Fuck. Yeah, but I'm not gonna ask that out loud right now.
Yeah.
So 2 questions. My name is Ash. We heard that some troops are coming through here from the stronghold, but we haven't heard anything from them. So we're here looking for them. In terms of what I want, actually is a hot meal. But for this particular conversation, I was trying to figure out if you weren't interested in the unicorn because you were just sad and things sucked, or if there's something happening else.
Like halfway through you talking, they
Yeah.
start walking away.
That's fine. So yeah, I think this is magical, y'all.
Okay. You mean like the lethargy?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you get any information about the troop?
No. We didn't even stay from my home.
Okay.
Excuse me, sir, excuse me. And I kind of try to catch his attention. Have you seen troops like me? And I I show him the insignia, and I try to reach out like.
Charisma check.
Whoa. Okay. 14.
Okay. So you're able to get their attention enough. Here's the thing, they really didn't care about answering you, and they were going to put as little effort into like remembering as possible.
Mm-hmm.
They also nat 20, so they look at you, they see your uniform, and they go, yeah, maybe think that way, and they gesture like towards like a house, and they go, went in, slept, who cares, and walked away.
And then he walks away.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. This way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
And then I start, kind of.
Hmm.
I'm a little peppy.
Emma's a little on edge because we just like flew into the town square in a unicorn, and like it seems like this place is just like dead and no one cares. And it's just kind of like this isn't. It's not like she's like wants like some grandeur or some like wow.
Yeah.
But the fact that there's like nothing is just kind of putting her a little on edge. So she's gonna be like looking out like to see if there's anything amiss as we're going towards over there.
Yeah, and Ash also wants to like pay attention like internally, like if he's losing any energy or whatever. Like,
Okay.
or however.
Oh, I have
however
protection from good and evil. Let me know if that helps at all with this.
What? Oh yeah, you have the natural
Yeah,
thing.
the natural protection
Yeah.
from good and evil.
I'm gonna say it's a little different from a creature. Because like I think with that you're kind of like expecting like something, and you don't feel any more or less protected by that. But that at least tells you it's probably not someone or something existing here. It's or like some creature thing, but probably something that is imbued with this energy or this.
So it's
energy
not
sucking
affecting
thing.
us, it looks like, yet.
Right, but if it were to affect you, it's a static thing more than a live thing.
Okay.
Right, so like protection from good and evil isn't gonna do anything essentially.
Right.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Do you want to go to the house that they pointed out? It seems to be.
he's leading us there now.
I'm
Okay.
heading that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
It seems to be a nicer house, especially since it's right on the square. So, it's probably someone who's a little bit more well-to-do, but no one in here seems to be exceptionally wealthy. It's a nice brick home. There's one candle lit in the upstairs.
Do I feel? I mean, based on the time of day and what the house looks like, would it be too intrusive to knock on the door?
It's pushing your luck, but
I mean, but if the troops are here, right? Like,
yeah,
then it wouldn't matter.
I'd say we give it a all, and then I give a knock on the door.
okay. Roll a Constitution check.
Oh fuck!
No.
Nice.
Nice. Okay. Well, no, it's that's good. It takes a really long time for someone to answer, and you almost consider turning away. Like, I guess no one's home. Like, we got to figure something out. But then, like, you're like, no, let's wait. You're patient, and it pays off because eventually, the door slowly opens and a woman peeks out, and she seems to be in her like late 20s, and she looks at you and she goes, "Who are you?"
I'm from the fort. Captain sent us to check on the troops that came through.
Another. She just opens the door, and she doesn't even like step aside. There's enough space to scoop by, and it's not like she's actively trying to keep you out. She just doesn't feel like moving.
All right, well, let's go inside.
Pardon me, miss. Excuse me.
You bump into her a little, but she doesn't. She gives you a look, but doesn't do anything. And about like a good 15 seconds after all of you are in, the door closes. And she walks to the kitchen, as if to like prepare dinner. But instead, she just sits down at the table and stares at like ingredients that look like they've been out for a few days at this point. Mushy butter, stale bread. There's not there's not a terrible amount of bugs here because it's so cold, but somehow there's still some vermin that probably like mice or something that nibbled away at it as it's been sitting out all day. Um, it's 2 stories. In here seems to just be a common area, living room, kitchen, dining area.
And there's no one else in the house.
No one
Like,
downstairs
down
at
here.
least, yeah. There's like some of you have like really good natural perception / insight, and there's like baby toys out and about as well.
Oh, God.
So
Oh no.
yeah.
You've got a child there?
She looks at the toys and up at you, and she's
Quiet one, don't hear him crying.
and she thinks and she goes, I should check on him. But she doesn't get up.
So like under his breath, Ash is gonna like turn to him and be like, "You better be prepared for a very dead child."
I don't know if it would do anything, but just because it's a cantrip and I can, I'm gonna go over to her and I'm gonna kind of, like, with a really concerned face, put my hand on her shoulder, and as I put my hand on her shoulder, and I ask, "Is everything all right?" I cast resistance.
Okay. What does resistance do?
Technically, it gives 1d4 on a saving throw. So I'm curious if we could flex it and for roleplay, see if that could like maybe give her something.
Yeah.
Of, like,
I'm going to say, like, she's failed her saving throw at this point.
Yeah.
But with resistance, you notice a moment of clarity. And she goes, I should check on him. And stands up and starts walking upstairs.
Right, so Ash is gonna
Wait,
follow
where's
her.
the soldiers?
And then with
Yeah.
that clarity, then we would all kind of like come together like, but where are the soldiers, miss?
Upstairs. I don't know. How long does it last?
Resistance is up to a minute.
Okay, so I'm gonna say she has a minute where she's still worn down, but she's a little bit more clear.
She's able to help us.
Okay. And she's still dragging a little. It's kind of like where you're sick, but you have to do it. Like as opposed to you're sick and fuck it.
Right.
And she leads you upstairs, and it's a corridor with a couple of rooms, and the first one appears to be the baby's room because she goes right in. And I'm going to say like that's kind of where the minute ends in a sense because I don't want her to have to see her baby. It's alive, maybe. It's hard to tell. You look inside and you see one of your soldiers actually cradling it like against the wall, and they're just rubbing its back like to warm it almost. So it's hard to tell whether or not it's alive right now because it's not wiggling, but it seems like the paladin, even though they're also very drained, has been just almost soothing themselves while doing that as well. And he looks up to you and goes, "Oh, weird seeing you here."
What has happened? And I kind of rush over. I don't know if it's gonna do anything, but I cast Spare the Dying on the child.
Okay. What does that do?
Spare the Dying. Touch a living creature that has 0 hit points. The creature becomes stable. The spell has no effect on undead or constructs.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that definitely stabilizes it. It was kind of in my head like at a 0 HP, and someone had to do something. What? Oh no!
So
It's alive.
it's alive.
It's alive.
Yeah, I really thought it was gonna be dead. Ash
Yep.
100% was fully prepared for a very dead baby.
Yeah, I mean, it would have died if you didn't go to that house that night. So
Right.
yeah.
And do you want it to stay? No, I'm just kidding.
So,
I don't really think I made like a much better decision. I thought there'd be a huge horde of undead. It's not like I thought there'd be a dying baby.
Yeah.
so I cast Spare the Dying on the baby,
It
and
immediately starts crying.
Good.
I-
Like Ash, like there's this like
The joy
like,
of hearing
yeah.
a child
Yeah.
cry.
someone help me, please.
And the
So-
paladin just like kind of jolts a little because like I mean, he seems to know what to do with babies, but he wasn't really expecting that noise to come out after like a day and a half of just going like this.
Yeah.
And he looks down
So-
and looks at you and
Is it like so from my Okay,
like
so-
Simba's it.
Yeah, so I take the baby and I gesture over.
So
to
I'll
Ash-
take care of the baby.
one of these two. Okay, so
The only
someone
female
takes
here.
the baby. Can I have a bottle of baby's milk?
It's
as a
mundane.
mundane item.
It's
Okay.
mundane.
Cool. Then I will hand M a.
Is it natural breast milk? Just,
Yes, but we don't know from who.
Unfortunately, it was an orc. Ugh, rough.
Yep.
Anyway, so and then the
I'll
paladin.
start
I
feeding the baby.
I reach over to the paladin and I again put my hand on their shoulder and I cast resistance because I see that there's some kind of lethargy
Yeah.
over them to try and pull them back into something to like help us. And
Okay.
I say, what's
Okay.
controlling you, mate?
And he rubs his face a little, and he's like, we were here, after the first night, I just felt awful. I kind of got in a stupor. And I don't know how long, I just know that when I woke up, it just wasn't there. I saw the baby, and I just had to help it. And I don't know, everyone searched the town. 5, as always. One went to the tavern to investigate. Another one went to the trader's post. The other 2 were boots on the ground talking to the people. And
Okay,
settles
thank you.
back.
You're good. It's rest, mate. You're fine.
Internally, Ash is very pissed that they only have 3 people with them right now, and the standard is 5. But that's a different story.
You could have
So,
had 4 at least.
Yeah,
as I'm feeding the
I think that
baby,
probably would have gotten worse for everyone if Tomas was here.
so we don't want to spend the night here.
Yeah.
We need to either solve this problem or leave and come back and solve it later.
I'm inclined to help these people, and I'm more inclined to help my brothers in battle. But if it means falling prey to this magic, we should leave.
So Ash is gonna come up to the soldier. He's gonna talk
Can
relatively
anyone of us
slowly.
detect magic?
No. He's gonna talk relatively, slowly and softly, as he's trying to do this. But he's gonna say, okay, did you eat anything? Did you drink anything? Did you sleep? He's gonna pull out the sandwich. This is his mind.
And he's just like, it's embarrassing just to watch, and they
So Ash has
slowly
0 judgment
chew.
on his face.
And when it gets to the point where they're supposed to swallow, he almost considers not, and a little drool dribbles out, but then he swallows.
Right. Like pull out a handkerchief.
Yeah.
So you just existed here for a night. That's it.
I think so.
Alright.
Alright. So I'm thinking whatever's doing this, maybe it's in a high place? Maybe what's the highest place that magic could be transmitted from?
I mean, or
In
it's
somebody's
underneath.
basement. Yeah.
I mean, there is a river going into how big is the river that we saw coming in?
Not terribly big. It's barely a river. You could
Okay.
7 feet wide.
I mean, yeah, where it's underneath, or someone. I mean, like what, like salted and like kind of salted the earth or whatever, but like with impute it with soul sucking energy or.
Yeah. Do you know anyone back at your camp who can find magical things, see magic in the world around them?
It's what's the word? Faux pas. To talk about the magic, it can't be, even though it's not necessarily outlawed. Just because we work with some people who wear red.
Yeah, Stu.
What? Can I? Is there any way for me? I know aid. Is there any way for me to reskin aid so that we can get more time out of this like health magic?
I don't know, because I think there's still plenty you could do with aid, even without reskinning it.
Okay.
So.
All right. Just cause. So then. All right. Just curious. Thank you. Friedrich would kind of stand back up.
I'm going to try something.
Mm-hmm.
Please don't hate me. So I'm gonna put the baby back in the crib.
If you're gonna put the baby down, Ashley's just gonna take the baby from you.
I'm gonna go up to the other soldier. What's their name?
You would know his name is Gam.
Gam. This is Gam.
Alright. And I'm going to take out a dagger, and I'm just going to try to deal, like, 1 damage to Gan, and see if that, like, snaps him out of it. Like, just trying to, like, does getting hurt, like, snap you out of this?
Yeah, you do that, and he just, ow. Why?
Trying to help.
I don't hate you.
A snake did that to you.
He doesn't care. He's like, okay.
Can you come with us, mate? Are you able to come?
Do like a charisma check with advantage since you are.
That's a 19. Ooh, that was almost a 20.
Yeah. No, but even with the 19, it seems pretty difficult. I think he doesn't willingly get up, but like once you pull him onto his feet, like he's got no choice but to stand up and keep walking. So that's how you get him with you.
Okay.
So should we just like take him out to the town?
Let's get some fresh air, mate. Come on, let's get you out here. And as we make our way out,
We'll just pick him up.
With the baby?
Oh God, no.
We'll have to leave
We
the
have
baby.
to leave the baby. We
Give
can't
the child
take
to
the
the
It's
baby.
okay. We're going to solve this issue, and then Mom's going to take care of the baby.
Give the
I
child
mean, the
some
baby hasn't eaten in a few days.
I mean, he's
bottle.
eating right
Just
now.
eat.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Like we have the bottle.
He's also stinky.
I
You need
waited
to change
until the
his
bottle
diaper.
was done before I
Yeah,
stabbed
okay.
Dan.
So how about y'all do that? I'm gonna stay here for a half second and take care of this
quick
baby.
prestidigitation that diaper.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Don't accidentally do the thing where it shuts and opens all the doors. It's like,
Yeah.
I love it. Yep.
so where's the highest place in the town?
There doesn't seem to be one. It's a flat area.
Okay.
And like the tallest buildings are in the center where you just were, and at best they're 2 stories.
Am I feeling any lethargy?
Not yet. You've only been here for a half hour at most.
From my memory, do I recall if Gam or if one of the other soldiers specifically of this squad would be considered the leader or the strongest?
Gam would be the leader.
Gam would be the leader? Okay, so once I get Gam to his feet and he's outside, like, I see that the fresh air isn't really doing much, so I just lean over and I put my hand on the side of his face and I'm like, Gam, are you with me? And then I cast Lesser Restoration.
Okay. That does removes a curse, right?
Until I touch a creature, and I can either remove 1 disease or 1 condition affecting it.
Okay. I'm gonna say like, cause with that, I'm gonna say they have 1 level of exhaustion, but they are there. So like, it seems a little bit more than a condition, but a
Right.
little less than a curse. So
Right.
it's in some weird area there. And he shakes his head and looks at you, and he goes, "Oh, that's quite bad. Where's the rest?"
Mate, we're looking for him. Where? Help us. We're here to help you. Help us help you.
You're not my captain.
Do you know
You're
the
not my
spell?
father.
Do you know
You're
the?
not-
You're not my God.
Do you know the spell that he just cast?
Yeah.
Okay, good. How many times can you cast it today?
Oh, I mean, I know of the spell.
We
I
need
do.
to. Okay, so do you know what's
Off
going on
camera.
here?
2 more times. Yeah.
Yeah, everyone is run down. There seems to be some sort of energy. This is my, like, natural, like, male adult in some form of authority voice. I need to get better with accents. But anyway, yes.
Every DM feels that way.
I
You do
know.
a perfectly
I
fine
know.
job.
Sorry. I'm
you
trying.
do a perfectly fine job.
I'm trying.
You're so awesome.
Thanks. What was I gonna say? Yes, everyone here, there's some sort of energy sapping them. I wanted to investigate, but I saw the child, and I just couldn't leave it, and unfortunately, I guess I stayed a little too long. I didn't get to think of
When
the
did you-
problem causing it.
When do you think you left to be here?
A day? 2?
Yeah, that's actually true. Right? That's like they've been gone for
They're
2
about.
years. Yeah.
Actually, no.
They've
They,
been gone for a long time. They're worried because they've
Yeah.
been gone so long.
How long were
Again,
they
how
gone?
long have they been gone?
I remember they sent you out about a week ago, mate.
Yeah. A week? No, surely that time couldn't have passed.
It's been a week.
Are the others okay?
We haven't seen them
camp,
yet.
At camp.
Yes,
Full
they're,
fine.
they're fine. There
Okay.
was a small attack last night, but I burned them off.
Thank you.
Captain Head Tomas find strong swords to help us.
Oh, so you're Tomas's. I get joy
No,
out of
not
just saying that
really.
over and over again. Sorry. Oh, that's good. He's back. That's quite good. Bless. Speaking of bless, well, I don't know how long bless lasts. He's not gonna.
Like
A minute.
or something.
Yeah, so he's not going to bless you right now, but he's like, when we think that we need it, don't do anything before I say the prayer.
Yeah. So we never actually took care of the kid, besides changing his diaper and like, how old is the kid?
We fed the kid.
It's yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna try a thing on the mom before. Can I a little bit retcon? Because I actually like want to make sure the kid's okay.
I assumed we were having this discussion without you, actually.
Oh,
Okay.
So you're still inside.
perfect. Yeah, that's all right.
Okay.
Never mind. Continue doing all that.
So we'll finish this and then go to
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So if it's been a week, we really need to hip on out of here. At least to get everyone. It seems that well, I do worry because that's just one child. What about the rest of them?
Yeah, we can't leave until we've solved this problem. Or we can leave
We're
just so we
going
don't
to-
get hit at night.
Yes, we need to leave. I don't want another week going by. So we're gonna have to do a lot of touch and go here if we want to get these townspeople out. Bright side is sometimes we encounter some sort of resistance if we take people from their homes. I mean, we don't force anyone out, but if we try and encourage them to come to the fortress, we're going to
Wait.
encounter. But
Abby's got a very confused look on her face.
what?
It's the dead of night. There's an army of undead between us and the fortress. There's no immediate threat here. Yes, they're a little lethargic.
They won't eat. They'll die by their own means. If
but not
by-
in the next 12 hours. They're not going to eat for the next 12 hours anyways.
Well, no, I'm planning ahead. That's what people do when they're leaders. So
Oh, so that actually
Easy,
here.
man,
Wow.
Easy. We can't move until we get our friend. We need to collect the other sword and then we can move on.
Yes. But anyway, as I was saying, it's a good thing that they are lethargic now. I'd be more inclined to get everyone out before we figure out the issue. Yeah. Go ahead. You could.
Why don't we just solve the issue?
Because if we solve the issue, then they may not want to leave, and there may not be undead here now, but they're
Oh,
sure
so
as
you
shit
came
going
to
be
get
some.
them to leave.
Yes.
Well, how about we solve the issue, and then we let them, under their own free will, come to the fortress, instead of forcing them to do that.
Well, Captain
Giving them the choice will potentially have them die.
and Captain told them that they had to bring him back. There was no choice. That was the command.
How do we know that this disease isn't some... How do we know that if we bring them there, that they won't give this disease to, or whatever this is, to everyone there? At the fortress. And then you've got a fortress full of lethargic people dead, because the undead are at the walls.
Good point.
You're a bit of a leader. Right. Test it on me and my men. Bring us out for a day. See how we are. Go from there.
Let's collect Ash and we will move on.
And what's Ash doing?
So Ash is going to try to cast suggestion on the mom.
Okay. What level spell is it?
It's a level 2.
Okay, what level spell is restoration?
Lesser Restoration is a level.
That's a level 2, I think.
As a level 2 spell.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Yep. Okay. What's the suggestion?
So the suggestion is going to be take care of your child by feeding your child and changing your child and also eating yourself. No, fuck! Don't do that to me! You know better. Don't even.
Uh-huh.
Also feeding with food.
Okay.
Feed yourself with food.
You have a little bit more difficulty, and I'm gonna say like she's doing this with disadvantage because she doesn't care. So yeah, you are able to suggest that to her. But what's a little different from your usual suggestions, you could feel like there was a presence just, weighing in her, forcing her to act this way, and you had to like actively push it out to have your suggestion rather than just go, oh yeah, silly human mind, psh, now you're mine.
Right.
So yeah. Who goes in to get Ash?
I mean, I'll be coming out after I
Okay.
do that. I just really needs to make sure this.
I'll go in to get Ash. If I can have a private conversation with Ash, that'd be nice.
All right.
Go for it.
Alright, so,
I'm outside with Gam, just going over what everything.
So, good news and bad news. So the
Right.
good news is that we got the guy, the baby caretaker. Gan cast some sort of spell on, or not Gan, Fred cast some sort of spell on him, and he's feeling better now, and he's back to his leadery ways, so to speak.
Lovely.
The problem is that I don't think he knows what he's doing, and he's really trying to act like he does. And so what he wants to do basically is, okay, so this was his original plan, was to head back to camp, and then come back and get all these people who are comatose and bring them to the fortress. Now I managed to talk him out of that, but now what he wants to do is, why
not take them all back to the fortress?
Well, for a couple of reasons. One, we don't know, if it's endemic to them, like on their bodies, or if it's endemic to this location, right? So you could be bringing a disease or something into there.
Sure.
But also, then it's like it's basically like his job is just to come here and get these people and move them over to the fortress, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he just cares about doing his job, so he views them being lethargic as like a good thing. So that kind of bothers me. I don't know how you feel
It's a
about
good thing till you get into a fight and they all just stand there while they get eaten.
it. Yes.
You're not wrong.
And so, and they don't have a choice as to where they're going or what they're doing. I mean, obviously, they don't really have that right now. So, what they want to do now, which I think is interesting, is they want to go out and camp the night, like a mile from here, see if they're lethargic in the morning, and if they aren't, then come round up all these lethargic people and bring them back.
So like this baby was going to die tonight, right? I'm imagining. I mean, this town is small, but it's not so small that it only has one infant at a time.
Yes. I think that we want to solve this problem tonight. That's how I'm feeling about it.
I mean, they can leave if they so choose. That's fine.
Okay.
But yeah, I agree with you.
All right. Okay. Then we're on the same page. Good. Glad we could have this talk. The mom
we
seems
agree
a little better.
I suggested that you take care of your child.
My favorite thing is we have to give them a choice. I cast suggestion. No, I know.
This kid has to get fed at least one more time in the next 24 hours.
Yo. No, that's all. All right. So yeah, how do you? You know, I'm gonna say they're chatting right now. Do you want to just say, hey, I don't know if Luke is standing outside. Can someone check and see if he went to the bathroom?
Luke, you're in the bathroom, right?
Yeah. He's in
Okay.
the bathroom.
All right. I wasn't sure if he was just standing outside.
I don't think he was.
Anyway.
So what I'd like to do is, Asher really charismatic too, but basically I want to say like, I've got it. So, Gan, obviously, we can't spend the night with you out in the wilderness, because if it is a disease, then we would get it too. So we're gonna stay here and solve the issue in the town, while you and your troop go do that. How's that sound?
I forgot how clerics work. I can prepare detect magic after a long rest.
Yeah.
So if we wanted to come back, then just above table.
Yeah.
Gan will go. Don't stay too long. I don't want you to be another body for us to have to get out.
And don't worry, I'll just fly back to the fortress and sleep there tonight.
Do you say that at passing and walk away and just leave him scratching his head over that?
No,
or?
because we have to go and get the rest of the troop and lesser restore them, and
Okay.
because they might have valuable information that will help us solve this problem.
Okay. Why don't you? Are you going with him searching around?
Yeah.
Okay. So do an investigation check with advantage.
Are you coming
Just
next
me,
week, too?
or just me,
Alright.
or everybody?
Yeah, I mean, I know that you work Wednesday, so when we do the Wednesday swap,
Yeah,
that
when
would
you do a Wednesday swap, no. But if you're rolling at 3 next week, did you say?
we actually might. We'll figure that after.
Yeah, we'll figure that out.
My question. Okay, so it's almost 4:30, and we're kind of like at this spot where like we're kind of at this spot where like we're just starting the next thing, and
You're
so
right.
I'm not saying like we shouldn't do this right now. Like I'm totally cool to keep going and do that. But it's almost 4:30, so I just figured I'd like say that, and we could then decide.
I think it's worth it because like you could get more information out of them and figure stuff out. So I think this is a good stopping point. And since we have a new person, typically we tend to discuss more when we have fresh faces.
Right,
here.
and I wanted to double check like because he's with us now, it'd be really awkward if he just wasn't here.
Gotcha.
You know, and
So
Corey
you don't want me to roll?
Not yet. We'll save that for next week.
So yeah, I just wanted to double check that if he was gonna be with us
Gotcha.
or not.
The Wednesday swap will finalize my guest starring, but on Mondays I don't work, so if you don't have me back, then I come back.
So
We totally keep you up.
deal.
Cheers.
So thoughts?
Well, for chat and stuff.
Yeah,
like,
chat is always welcome to ask us questions, by the way. You
Uh,
guys get priority for the questions that we ask and answer, and then we'll fill the space up otherwise.
So Lucas is like in a. Do you go by Luke or Lucas? Or does it matter? Okay. So you're doing this campaign, but you're like way behind us. Right?
Yeah, it's interesting to note that once you have more minds in the mix when it comes to decision making, it does slow you down. You know, because we're always bouncing more ideas off of each other, and I can see just based off of only 3 people versus, I mean,
Yeah, we have a lot.
We normally roll with 5.
Yeah.
We normally roll with 5, but for a while we were at 7. So, and then one week we actually had a guest star, so we were up to 8, and that was like very difficult for us to get through all of the questions and all of the what everybody wanted to accomplish. Where this is a lot more poignant,
Yeah, I mean, I think also like, how long do you guys play for?
longer per session.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, like, some of it is, I think that me and Eric at least have, like, really gotten used to, like, we have 2.5 hours.
Mhm.
If we want to get anything done today, we have 2.5 hours. Because what, you guys spent, like, I think my first few sessions, it was, like, the first 7 sessions were 3 days.
Oh
Like,
yeah. Yeah.
like, we just couldn't get anywhere, and that was tough.
We also went back
That
and
was tough.
forth to the same spot, or
Like,
that
multiple
was,
times, yeah. So, I'm
Um,
glad we're making shit faster. It makes me happy.
Yeah. We got
Um,
a question. Where's this encounter taking place? So, I wrote in chat. It's taking place like at the border of Taizhou and Guo. Right now, pretty much like every part of this campaign has taken place in Taizhou. So right now they are in the southern part of Taizhou, and
Right.
the other campaign just after the Dragonborn camp.
Right.
So I'm not gonna give away spoilers, but pretty much there's like plot point 1, mini plot point that turned out to a huge plot point for this one, then capital city, then some other stuff, and then they're finally like really at the northern border. So there's like a couple of different arcs that happened in between. And this is not to say like this is the like last Taizhou thing, because there's plenty of stuff, but it's the last, like, for me, the immediate thing from that I set up in session 1. So there's a bunch of other stuff that's going to happen, but this is like the encapsulating moment of like what I would say is the first full chapter
right.
of.
So have you guys gotten to the actual like lizard?
No.
Okay. That's
No.
all right.
No,
Because I was gonna compare some
No,
shit, and
Yeah.
then
At this point, we
they just freed.
They just freed the
So,
Dragonborn.
Like, so you're
We
where
only-
I haven't even been yet
no
Yes.
we
because I wasn't there yet.
we
Yeah.
just I mean, in our campaign we were able to make our way out of the underground, the Forgotten City and the
Right.
tunnels and everything through the secret passage with the remaining Dragonborn that we were able to save downstairs, and then we made our way out. We have yet to actually go back to free any of the Dragonborn in the actual encampment, like within the fence. We were only able to take what we could take while we were down in the tunnels.
Cool.
But it's it's got good makings, but we're in a weird position because we basically have a bunch of fodder, and we don't know. I mean, I'm a Dragonborn personally in that campaign, so I know that it would be to my best interest, seeing as I've only seen so many in the world up until this point.
So wait. So
Like,
what
keep
is it
them
like
around.
playing Kelly has a different idea about how races work.
Uh-huh.
It sounds like you've played a Dragonborn before this.
Yeah, this
Like, how is this different? Playing like a thing that was a lizard before it was a conscious
it's
person.
the toughest part about, and one of the other players, Bobby, is Aarakocra, and he was captive as like part of a menagerie as a parrot, and when the meteor struck and he was imbued with magic powers and he became sentient humanoid, then him and I both share a view of like we vaguely remember what it was like, and we have flashes of emotion and instinct and what we may have felt through that process, but we are now mostly confused because we can tell that some people don't treat us the same way, and we're not sure if it's meant to, like, if everybody's supposed to be like that, or I mean, we have other people who are kind of magical and some other people who are not magical at all who are with us that treat us equally, so why is it that not everybody treats us equally? And we've had a couple of discussions in character, just him and I, about what should happen about the other people who are not magic creatures, and if something were to happen to the party, what we should do, and some of the responsibility that we have to keep our party safe, because we are a magical animal creature that the Inquisition wants to eradicate or enslave. It's tough.
Yep. how does it feel? Because I set up the early encounter to be like you're gonna blow through them. So like, is it still rewarding when you're set up with encounters that are just so easy to blow through?
So I wouldn't necessarily
Or-
call that encounter easy, right? Like the enemies themselves were easy, but the
Mm.
strategy that we had to employ, like, because we were in the middle of like very cold terrain, we had
Mhm.
like there were lots of things happening all at once, and we had to negotiate all of that. And so yeah, for me, like for sure, that was
Mm.
super rewarding. But not because I was killing enemies, but because I saved. I was able
Okay.
to save the entire 5-person troop that we
Mhm.
were there to save, right? Like.
Yeah. Yeah, because one thing that I think about, like playing an Eric's campaign, one of my favorite things that you do is the terrain. Like you do a really good job with giving, either making puzzles where you're on a time crunch, or putting us in spaces where we have to reconcile with like, all right, the room's filling up with water. What do we do? Or we're in a space and we're going. If we stay in the space, we're going to have to make saving throws. So I try and think of ways how can I make this puzzle or a challenge besides kill the thing. So I tried to do one thing where if you did anything loud, there was going to be an avalanche, and that could or could not have happened. It happened. I like that it happened. And then this one, like now you're not fighting against a beast. You're fighting against something different. So, just talking about different challenges that we have as players, and what do we personally like in campaigns. And I know that it changes time to time, but I figured we could talk about that.
I think that it's nice to have a string of encounters that would represent a dungeon crawl, but it would be more like what would actually happen. Like if you were watching a movie and you would have a story progress, like the party doesn't just stop for the night and then they take it up the next day most of the time, unless it's like a huge epic movie, like you're watching Lord of the Rings, maybe. But most hour-and-a-half action movies, the party doesn't just stop, they keep going. And you see the scars and the marks from the beginning of the movie later on, or at least good movies would have that continuity throughout. So I think that it's good to have small encounters, and then the decision, do we continue? And I'm glad that we continued, because, well, I mean, in role play we save some lives, but out of role play, it does create more continuity in. Is that a word?
Continuity.
Continuity. Thank you. More continuity just within the story and role playing the character itself. That makes sense.
Yeah, no, it totally makes sense. I mean, Ash was totally on the fence. He hasn't had like a full night's sleep in someplace warm in much longer than he is used to.
Yep.
Because as a bard, even when he was kind of like living the poverty life,
You get a
you
place.
still get a room.
Yeah.
You know, like you sing for your food, and if you're good at singing,
Yeah.
or if you're good at like charming or whatever,
Mhm.
like it's relatively rare that he has to like actually rough it.
Yep.
He is like not super. There's a string of things making him very unhappy, which I really like actually as the player.
Yeah. So what just happened to Ash that he doesn't like that like is just funny above table?
I mean, yeah, because I'm like, so Ash is supposed to be kind of the comedic, like, not only is he supposed to be funny, but him as the character is supposed to be kind of like the comic relief. Like, you feel kind of bad for him, but he's also a rich white boy. And so, like, it's kind of easy to hate, you know? Hate on, I should say. And I kind of built him that way, so. Yeah, I really like all the, like, every single time I am not sure what we're going to encounter. And
Me too.
I really
No, I'm kidding.
feel that as a DM, though.
I had, like, notes of, like, just the general things that are in this area, so it's just kind of like, originally I was going to have skeletons, I was like, fuck it, we did a bunch of skeletons last time, let's make them zombies.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, it all fits within the world and within the story that we have been kind of, like, you know, creating together in the world that you have created here. Like, everything you do, or everything you, like, we encounter, it makes sense, there's continuity, but, like, it's also varied to the point that I'm never getting bored, right?
That's good.
Yeah, variety is definitely the spice of life, I think. Like, I think difficulty gets like when like I'm reading like on like our D&D Next or something like that.
Mhm.
Like difficulty I think often gets oversung its praises. Like
Mhm.
difficulty can make for an engaging session, right?
Mhm.
Because it's like, oh man, are we gonna pull through? That's a powerful emotion. But I think that like difficulty in and of itself doesn't make for good storytelling necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, I think that like what makes things more interesting is when you're able to present even the same idea of a challenge but in a different context. So for instance, I'm thinking about our session last week. The first fight, like they're just now entering into like this kind of this layer of this guy they've been kind of tracking down in this big city. And it's like in the sewers, and they get down and they see like one of the rogues sneaks up and is able to see like, oh, there's 4 guards like in this first room, and it's like, well, we want to kill them, and like the wizard's like, I'll just fireball in the room, and then they're like, but that would be really loud, and then like what, we don't know what's beyond this room, right? And so like that creates like, even though it was just 4 bandit captains, right? It was a relatively easy encounter for them. The puzzle was for them at least, like I mean they could have done it a lot of different ways. The puzzle for them was, I guess we need to be silent. So like the cleric was like, I'm gonna cast silence, and we'll fireball into the silence and blow it like so it doesn't make any noise, and we're gonna fight completely in silence, so we can't cast spells or anything, so we can try to go through this like that, and it worked.
Yeah.
And so like that was an instance where like it wasn't, oh, did I roll better on the dice or anything, but it was like, how did the players use their creativity to kind of solve the situation of this battle. Then the next battle was like very different because basically like there was a room, it was like a stop, it's like a secret lair, so like it was just like a supply room, but there was like a secret door, and the players are smart enough to know there's this probably a secret door. So but when they rolled like a 7 to find it. So I've been trying out this new thing, which I linked in the thing called failing forward, which is like when you fail, it's just like you, instead of like just like, oh, you didn't find the secret door, I guess there's no secret base, I guess all this content I prepared is useless, right? Or it's like you have them succeed at some sort of cost. And in this case, it was like after like 30 minutes of waiting, the rogue just happened to like lean against whatever the thing was, and like it was a turnstile door, and so suddenly they're on the other side fighting the flesh golems who are like now barreling down on them all alone, and they've got no way out, right? And so then like the rest of the party's got to try to quickly figure out this puzzle now before the player is attacked. And ultimately, because someone nat 20, they figured out the door like that, and they all got through the door. It was her. And so it ended up being a pretty boring fight because the flesh golems, while they literally take, they're immune to. Yeah.
And I happened to use fire damage for my arcane weapon.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, oh, fireball. Let's have more fire stuff.
Yeah. It was a fortunate series of events, the nat 20 and then the fire, because the flesh golems are immune to all non-magical damage. So like it creates like an interesting fight where like, how do we deal with these things? Because like they have a lot of HP. Like, are we just gonna pepper it with cantrips? Like how are we gonna deal with this? The problem is I forgot that I'd given the rogue a magic sword. I thought they had a magic dagger, which was not a lot of damage, but they had a magic sword, so that made it easier. But then also they have like a fear of fire. So then you figured that out right away. So that made it a little different. But like that shows like in the other fight you used fire, but it didn't matter that you used fire. In this fight you used fire. And so just like any kinds of variety that you can introduce, whether it's in the creatures or in like the way that the battle ends up getting set up, I think all of those help create variety. In this case, my character legitimately was like, after the first round of combat and then there's an avalanche coming, I didn't care about the fight anymore. Like, I was like, how are we going to survive this avalanche? And, like, more importantly, like, I can just fly up. I still have fly on. But how are these people going to survive the avalanche, right?
That, the immunity thing inspired me for the one-shot that I'm sorry you missed. We played a one-shot, and originally it was someone that had resistance but not immune. So I had the big bad be 2 werewolves, which were immune to all non-magical, non-silvered weapons. And no one had a magical weapon, and they ran through most of their spell slots. But then one person was a paladin with Moonbeam, and it turns out that Moonbeam
is epic. My God.
Especially against shapeshifters, where they return to their normal form on a failed save. So they return to like level 3 exhaustion commoners. So they just went after they Moonbeamed them. we're able
Moonbeam,
to
for the
turn that-
record, is one of the most broken spells in the game. I love it.
Yeah.
It is
I love it.
awesome. But
And-
Jesus Christ, Moonbeam.
And exactly what you just described is so much more satisfying as a player and as a DM
Yeah.
when, like, you're like, oh, how are we going to beat these werewolves? And then it's like, Moonbeam. Wow.
Oh, you almost got him.
I would like, yeah, well, those are my new glasses. That was a nice thing to happen. My bad. You like Moonbeam and you throw your glasses at them, and then
Yeah.
that kills them because glasses have glass, of course.
Yeah.
And that's like a more satisfying narrative. Like we were fighting these werewolves, we didn't have anything to do. Then we figured out we had a way to unshapeshift them and attack them before they could shapeshift back. Like that's cool.
Yup. That was fun.
It's also, I don't know, to have a variety of like environment things. I laugh because I remember when I played World of Warcraft, you would be on either a player versus player or player versus environment server. Like, to mean it literally, like, if you would constantly have so much extra enemies attacking, just as a DM, I could see it being tough to incorporate a player versus element aspect. There's a couple of other games, I'm trying to remember, I don't think it was Shadowrun, but there's another paper and pencil game where, like, everything that's an inanimate object has a stat block. And
Shadowrun has
and it's
everything has a stat block.
And it's like, if I would...
You can literally lose against a door.
Exactly.
You can literally lose
You know,
against
so
a door.
it's like, to that being one really hyperbolic example of that, like if you're playing D&D and then I created a big sound wave that then caused another avalanche, then that's one example. Another example is we were playing through a module of Saltmarsh, and electric spells were doing an extra d6 of damage regardless of the spell because of the way that the sand would react to it. You know, like things like that make fighting interesting because you get, especially when you're in a long campaign, you get used to playing the same character with the same fighting mechanics. So to have those extra spicy tidbits alongside what would be considered just normal combat, quote unquote,
Yeah.
would be
Well,
good.
I think that 5e, one of the things, you won't hear me say this very often, but one of the things that I like about it is that it is kind of like self-programmable, right? Like it is kind of built, it's built sparse enough that you feel like you kind of have to add your own stuff. And so you end up with that kind of like, where like in 3.5, you have a rule for everything, and that can be really awesome. But it can also kind of limit the need for creativity, and therefore actually limit creativity, kind of depending on the DM. But yeah, I really appreciate all the environmental stuff we ran into.
One thing that was fun today was, as much as I miss Corey being here, was the fact that he was not here and how we got to see M upset over the fact that, like, he was taken out by the captain as opposed to, like, he would have been here if he was here.
So
but
this was
instead,
definitely one of the times where I had my character do something different than he really ought to have.
Oh, yeah?
Because Corey isn't here. So it doesn't really matter what Ash would have done. Corey is not physically in the room, right? So we're not getting his character here. But Ash would not have let that go.
Let what go?
Like Ash would not. He would have just gone and like saved.
Oh,
Like there would have been
yeah.
like as a kid. Like Ash is actually like.
Yeah.
We do not take kindly to this kind of shit, and like Ash is very much like has taken on a little bit of that kind of like older brother thing with Franz.
Oh, shit.
And so he is like, look, like honestly, like if this had gone different, if Corey could have actually been here, like that would have been the looks between him and Tomas would have been very different.
Yeah.
And his response to the captain would have been very, very different. And yeah, today would have gone very differently.
I mean, we're gonna play out over text just kind of like what the conversation was like. In the end, I was gonna say the reason why, it's not really spoilery, but like Tomas looked guilty because in the end he just really just strong-armed Franz and just shut up and do it. It'll be okay. You know, whatever. But he didn't feel good doing it, you know. Because right, and as you could tell, like he's realizing he's upsetting the party, and he's upsetting his brother, and he's doubting what he's been doing lately, because of it. I don't know whether or not he's going to want to go back to the capital and help out
Right.
Joe in order to help out Franz, or if he's going to stick with his group that pretty much, like, he was separated almost 10 years ago from his brother.
Right.
Almost immediately picked up by the captain. And she's kind of become, like, his stability, and, like...
Yeah, the captain is his Joe, right? And that's totally legit.
Yeah.
And, like, so much of the stuff with Ash, right, is, like, this ego thing that he's got. And some of it is, like, with the cloak. Like, he understands, like, he does understand...
I really want to talk about that cloak
that it
character.
is just, it's just a joke, and it might actually have been, like, done kind of, like...
In a friendly way?
Way. But this is, like, literally the first gift that he's ever gotten that he actually thought was altruistic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not to get something from him
Yeah.
for that thing. And so to have it be a joke, like...
Yeah, hurt.
Right.
Yeah.
I think he's kind of, like, slowly figuring out, like, him as a person, he is a joke. And so, like, it's like this, it's like, it's, like, now that he's on his own, like, essentially he's been disowned, right?
Yeah.
Like, and now that he's on his own, and it's, like, really, like, everything just is, like, coming, like, emotionally, like, bearing down on this, like, poor person right now, which sucks.
Yeah.
Which is the other reason why his reaction with Tomas and with the captain would have been really, really different today.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, also, Corey can't be here. Like, we're not
yes,
calling him in. Like, like, there's just no way to, like, get past that without derailing the entire day and the entire party.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, I wish Eric was here because I was going to bring up Nat once.
Yeah, I tried to, because he sent me that failing forward thing. Before we do that, follow-up question for Luke. How did playing in a different area in the same campaign, in a different role, affect your decision-making as a player?
I think that it was... Ultimately, what was more impactful to me was not having the impact of being a magical creature and having people judge me, and just rolling as a human. And I felt a lot more comfortable because I was in what would be seen as, like, a majority. Where if I would roll up with Zeke, my Dragonborn from the other campaign, I don't know if people would necessarily be so willing to even work with them. And I would have to, like, maybe convince them that I'm cool, or maybe they would, like, treat me differently, and I would have to stay in a different area as a player, but playing as a cleric that was already part of this fort, I also had some, a pretty fair amount of confidence in my acceptance. I don't know, having spells is really cool. I guess that's the other thing, moving from being a fighter to a cleric.
You still have to do your level up for next time.
I know what I'm doing. I'm taking a magic initiate feat so I can get some sweet spells to cast through my Warhammer. Should be fun. But I don't know. I'm trying my best not to take anything with to the other campaign too. Just as, like, almost treating it like a one shot.
Like, because I still plan on you guys encountering the people here. It's not going to be the same puzzles, the same things. But, like, you are going to probably encounter the captain if things go the same way. And one fun thing that I have to reconcile is, like, with this party, when you went to the capital, like, everyone was human or able to make themselves look human. We've got a dragon and a parrot in the other one. So, like, and we don't have, like, the 5 fingers. We don't have Ash.
Yeah.
I
mean, our connections in that city really made that city, like, doable.
Yeah. Because
we had so many connections, or we were just, like, throwing connections at you.
Yeah.
Which tends to happen a lot in this campaign.
Which is fine. I roll with it. I love it. I love because here's the thing, like, one part that I liked is, like, I didn't tell you to say that people don't discuss magic in the fort, but, like, you came up with that, and I love the idea. I'm rolling with it.
Well, and it is actually...
And it makes sense.
It actually makes sense, and with our other encounters in the camp, it actually still
Yeah.
has continuity to it, which I think is really cool.
Mm.
What is it like having the mashup of
It's fun.
two people, like one person from a different campaign who's playing the same campaign but in a different time and in a different character,
Yeah.
come into this campaign? Like, what is that like as a DM?
Well, my main thing is, well, how do I do this without spoiling him? So
Yeah.
there's that. How do I do it without spoiling anyone who wants to watch him in this arc?
Right.
So there's that as well. But the other thing is, the way that I think of it is anything that they learn about the captain here, like, is Tomas going to be around? What role is Tomas going to have? Are you going to encounter Franz or M or Ash in the other campaign
Oh my
as
god!
NPCs?
I mean, when do you guys play?
That would be cool,
That would be
actually.
epic. When do you guys play?
Fridays,
Fridays.
Friday evenings. So,
Alright, cool.
if we-
What time?
like 7:30.
I would be
It's
totally down to, like,
That'd be fun.
I
come
guess
hang
so.
out.
Do you want to
yeah.
be Lucky? And Ash?
Uh,
I'll be Lucky.
do I want to be lucky? Does anyone want to be lucky
I
besides
love
you?
being Lucky. He's my favorite shit show.
Yeah. I mean, he's everyone's favorite shit show.
Especially, I actually was rewatching past episodes. First of all, what's fun about rewatching past episodes is seeing how Ash went from 22 to 24 to 29. Because how old is Ash? I don't know, like 22? I don't know, like 24. Meanwhile, like the one time I say that the sun sets at 5 p.m., it's September.
Yeah, but you made such a big deal about that. Like, you brought that up so many times, and then, like, we started bringing it up.
Once in chat, and then you called me out on it. So then
I called you out only once, and then
I know.
and then it was just.
But then it became the size 7 foot after that. So it's okay. I'm just making a big deal over nothing.
I'm cool with Ash being whatever age. I mean, now he's got like crow's feet and shit. So how old does he even look? No one knows. No, that's because often characters' ages for me do change because I don't know really how like a lot of stuff. I don't know. I don't entirely know who the character is until I start playing them. And particularly with Ash, I didn't start with a backstory other than like I knew he was.
Yep.
He had the connection with his mom.
Yep.
And I'm only not saying it out loud because you are here.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, I knew the mom thing, and I knew, and that was like his impetus for like being where he was in the first place, and that he had been to Bard College, and that he had previously been a fighter and was like gonna run a business, and then was like, "Fuck off, mom, I'm going to Bard College," and then had also been like out in the world for a couple of years, and so like after I had made that decision, I was like, well, he can't be 22. Yeah. Because he probably wasn't that great at Bard College. So, like, probably 5 years in Bard College because he probably fucked off hard his freshman year. Yeah. And then, you know, like, so what is that? So he has to be at least, and then it was like 3 years out of Bard College, which puts him at 28 minimum. And then it became interesting with the you gotta get married by 30, and then. Right. Bye. Yeah, also, I'm just owning you, though. Yeah. Which is so fun. So much fun. I mean, for me, it was so much fun. For Ash, it's really not fun. But I really do enjoy this campaign. I mean, it's also like special to me because like it's a whole world that I built as opposed to a module. Which does feel so different. Yeah. It feels so different. I'm also like really lucky to have both parties very invested in their characters. Like I'll get random texts from both parties during the week sometimes. We're like, well, what about this? What about this? Like, we'll be at work and like, so I was thinking about this cantrip. Like, what if at level 15 I take this feat, but I don't want to take this feat because if I, I actually need to have some conversation with you about the actual, like choose a college, and I chose College of Whispers. Yep. But it's kind of shitty. I like the idea behind it, but this is one of the things that I really love about it. Kelly is a DM. Like, I'm looking at chat right now. Kelly is a DM is that is that you're willing to work with players and like find the flavor
Yeah.
that fits, as opposed to making the character fit the flavor that was already kind of
Yeah.
destined. I appreciate that a lot.
Gotcha. The other cool thing is like originally I wanted to like we had a lot of people interested, only a certain amount were able to commit, but originally like I wanted to run 2 campaigns back to back, one party then the other party, and see kind of where it went, what changed. So even though I only do one of them on stream, oh thank you.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do.
Even though only one's on stream, I get to have the thing that I wanted anyway, which is 2 parties and just see how it goes and how it changes. So it's a lot of fun. Any closing thoughts? Because it is 5 o'clock.
Thanks for having me.
We should talk
technology.
about
This is
Nat
fun.
Ones next time.
Yeah.
That we should do that because I
Yes.
love talking about Nat Ones and Nat 20s.
Especially,
I thought about it a lot.
My favorite thing with Nat Ones is how we worked it out with Sue.
Oh yeah, well
was
that
the
was
best.
special because of her feet, or not
Yeah.
her feet, her race.
Yeah.
But she's a halfling, so she had like the luck where you can reroll ones, but instead of rerolling ones, we did it so on every one something good happened, but it wasn't what you wanted. Like, and so it'd be like you fail the attack. Oh, you kicked the mast of the ship, and now it's flying towards the guy, and he has to duck out of the way, and he fails and takes damage from that, or something like that.
But yeah,
we can.
we'll talk about that.
Yeah, we should though.
All right.
All right. So I guess we are gonna like mute and then we do the thing.
Yeah, so
or, like,
I
how does
say
that work?
bye,
Yep.
then you put
All
it
right.
on the ending, and then
Cool.
you mute it so it doesn't look like, okay, I'm going to shut up, bye.
Bye.